What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the KCM. It's time for the final week of our first season of 2026. We're about to get into it. Let's get it started. Starting out here with Action versus Snow. And guys, spoiler alert here. Spoiler alert. Skip forward a couple of minutes if you don't want to hear about the ASL Open qualifier. I don't know if you've heard this, Shun, but Effort got taken out by YSC in the ASL Open qualifier, and then he forgot to sign up for ASL this season.
That's crazy. I saw the insane match between Effort and YSC on Matchpoint. One of the closest games that I think I've seen in a long time. Just in general in StarCraft, not even just like recent games. It was a very tight game, and fair play to YSC, man. He's not exactly the best of players, but he can hold his own.
So guys, he forgot, and he will not be participating this season because there are no...
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, they're not... they're not going to forgive.
Oh my god.
They're not going to change the rules for him. So he forgot to sign up. Unfortunate. The first season we have Flashback in. Effort will not be joining us. So that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, we won't talk about it anymore. For those of you guys who skip forward, you know, extra 2 minutes. But I just wanted to bring that up. Go watch the Jin 5000 video, guys, if you want to know more information. He put one up. JIN 5000, or JIN BW, I guess he changed his name. So if you guys want to hear more information about that, but that's just crazy to me, Shun. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, no, it's wild.
Such a bummer. But we have a great lineup here today. Action, Queen, and Soma, all great Zerg players. And there are so many Zergs out there right now. It's not like we have a lack of Zergs. It's just a little bit unfortunate that that turned out that way.
Yeah, wish we did have the alien Zerg in it to win it, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm actually kind of happy that they won't just like give him special treatment and bend the rules for him. I like that. I think that sets a good precedent going forward, right? And that's a good lesson to be learned for not only Effort but anyone else. But like, oh yeah, make sure I don't make that mistake as well, you know? So
yeah, true.
Going forward though, yeah, right. Going forward though, this lineup is sick, right? Like the Terran squad is about as good as it can get right now. I think Royal, Light, and Rush probably definitely in the top 4 slots for Terran at the moment. Rush and Royal in particular. Best Snow, Bisu, you know, obviously 3 of the top 4 players as well. The only one that's not there is Mini, but you could make the argument that, you know, these 3 guys are one of the best squads possible in terms of, you know, their diverse range of skill sets and what have you. And then Soma, Queen, Action, that's really super solid as well. I've not been feeling Queens and Actions play as much as the past, but they are still performing.
Yeah, I agree with, especially with Action not being quite up to par. I think Queen has been turning it around lately, for sure. He's been doing better.
A little bit.
But we were actually thinking that they might be phoning it in, or that all the teams might be phoning it in this week, since there's no final spot to play for anymore. But pretty awesome lineup, and maybe that's because of the great all-kill prize here, right? Like 4 million, 5 million. Won on the table. If you play really well here, you can actually end up taking that. And also you want to deny the other teams from getting that, because that prize will continue to build over time.
Yeah, it's going to keep rolling over if no one does claim that prize and just get juicier and juicier like the lottery. And some people might be a bit surprised in the sense of these guys might want to like hide their build orders because we've got ASL coming around, but there's also an argument to be made for they want to, you know, have a lot of practice for the ASL and play in a competitive environment. And we are going to be seeing Reavers out of Snow. That's crazy. I did not expect to see a Reaver opening from Snow on this map, especially cross map. This is kind of crazy, Sam.
Well, Snow's gotten away with an absolutely ridiculous build here. He skipped over cannon. He built Forge and then Nexus and then didn't build cannon. He went straight into Gateway, got his Cyber Core, got his robotics, and just never built that cannon. He's just been scouting here the whole time, seeing that Action wasn't building links. He's gonna get a Hydralisk as well. You're kidding me. Now coming in to deal some damage to this drone. He'll get a drone as well. You guys can see exactly what we're talking about when we say that Action isn't quite up to the level right now.
Whoa.
And I mean, it's really showing here in this game. Snow is ripping him apart. 2 kills already is just nuts.
This is wild. And what I love about this is one of like Snow's weaknesses is optimizations, right? Whereas the build order he's gone for here and this pressure with the Zealots is about as optimizer as you can get. So I love that he's experimenting with, you know, kind of leaning into his weaknesses and trying to brush up on his well-roundedness going into the ASL. Like, if he's doing builds like this and is comfortable doing it, that signals some pretty strong confidence and a lot more hope for him in this season.
I absolutely agree. That was the big criticism of him, not just from casters, but especially from the players themselves. We got a lot of translation videos from Jinjin once again. And it wasn't looking good, man. Like, they were really leaning on him hard. They were really criticizing him for building placement optimizations. We heard from Flash as well, just saying, like, if he had great optimizations, he would be a champion. And it seemed like he was taking it to heart. And I think he's doing the same thing here. This Reaver coming down, gonna completely deny the kill on the wall. Doesn't have to stick with Reaver. He doesn't have to go full into Corsairs. As we've seen in recent days, like, you can just switch out of this, use the Reaver in the early game, and then it looks kind of like that's what he's doing. Look, he's getting the Citadel now. He may just go into a bunch of gateways here and use the Reaver and High Templar in his army when he decides to push.
Yeah, more like using the Reaver as a springboard going into a more orthodox style of play. I think one of the reasons he's gone for Reavers here is on this map, the third base isn't that far away and it's relatively easy to secure. And that's kind of one of the weaknesses with opening Reaver is sometimes struggling to get that third base online. So maybe finding that this map might actually be not necessarily ideal, but one of the better map picks besides Jane Doe to actually open up with Reaver to begin with.
Yeah, definitely Jane Doe, I think, maybe open people's eyes a little bit. It's kind of funny how that works, right? Sometimes certain maps will show players what's possible, or will force them to, you know, adapt in ways that carry over into some of the more standard maps. And I'm curious to see what effect Jane Doe will have on the matchup as a whole. Protoss vs Zerg has been needing a shakeup for a long time, and it's very cool to see Snow innovating here and doing very well with this build. Can he keep this Reaver alive? Diving forward right now, trying to get under it. Slips over top of the high ground. Snow already with 2 kills, gonna come in for some more, dropping at the very far periphery, and he's gonna get some more Hydras for sure.
This looks pretty good from Snowman. Oh, good wraparound though from Action, trying to get on top of that shuttle. It is gonna go down. Nice pickup from our Zerg, managing to turn the tide a little bit here despite the losses. I would say that evens out the scale of power quite significantly now. I would say just a few moments ago, Snow was in quite a dominating position, but after getting that shuttle sniped, now I'm not so sure. I feel like there's a lot more wiggle room for Action now.
Yeah, that's a very nice wraparound, a very nice flank from Action. One Reaver here, though, at the natural kind of allows Snow to not build extra cannons, though. So he's just going to be able to sit here, not add extra cannons, even though his High Templar is super late. If Action wants to dive on this natural, I think Snow will welcome that. He'll just let you, throw yourself up against that wall with Hydras and lose absolutely everything. So he is just waiting here in the natural. There's some Scourge on the outside, going to be looking for this shuttle. Let's see if he can find anything here. He flies through, sees the gateway, so he knows that it's not a full commitment to the Reaver Serre style, which we really haven't seen work well as of late. Just has not been that effective against these pro Zerg players. Now he's going to find the Reaver shuttle, but it's got speed now. You're not going to be able to catch this shuttle nearly as easy with Snow at the helm of a speed shuttle now.
No, he would quite literally need to be looking away from his screen, which he's not likely to do. One of the reasons his macro and building placement suffer so much is because he's, a micro user. He's pretty much always staring at his units in some way, shape, or fashion. And I think you're completely spot on about the meta shift with the new maps. And one of the weaknesses of Snow is he's so good with Reavers, but he's not really been able to utilize them against Zergs, and that's been one of his kryptonites, right? And with Jane Doe, maybe that changes things. Maybe suddenly, hang on a minute, the new map pool not so good for Zergs, and suddenly we can utilize Reavers a bit more. Maybe this is a championship in the making for Snow. It's possible.
It's definitely possible. Definitely saw the weakness, though, of the build early on. Action, able to get that Reaver kill. Can Snow find any more damage with this, or does he just need to add it into his army? He has some great Reaver control, even with the complex army of Protoss having the High Templars and Zealots and Dragoons all combined with the Reaver is definitely a difficult task to try and micro all that, but Snow seems to be able to do it pretty handily. He's got this DT over here threatening the bottom center. He's also threatening to fly in towards the main right now. Action is covering everything for now, but he's found a gap. Gonna kill this Overlord and then move towards the main. Oh my gosh, the Scourge gonna connect on a lot of these Corsairs, but he is gonna get into the main. Wait, another pair of Scourge here. So many Corsairs have died. He can just get a few more Scourge out and finish this off, but how much damage can be done in the main base before that happens?
It's crazy. Like watching Snow play is like watching a bank heist unfold or something. Like he just barely manages to get in with this Reaver shuttle combo. Has a DT chipping away at the spawning pool a little bit as well. Didn't get the kill on that 6 o'clock hatchery, but he is pinning back quite a lot of Action's units while all of this is going on. Action not really able to do much of anything, but equally Snow has yet to elect to take a third base, so it doesn't really matter too much. Trying to get in here with the DT now to see if he can maybe slap down some of these drones, and at the very least he's denying the mining here due to the lacking of Overlord speed. It's taking a long time to actually track this DT down and eliminate it.
It's a very late Overlord speed. Some mutas coming out on the field now. Is it time for a Dark Archon? So many critical Corsairs were killed in that last engagement, so Dragoons are not going to quite cut it, and you can lose the Shuttle Reaver very quickly if you don't have a good response to the mutas, and you can see even more mutas are popping out here. It's going to be kind of the linchpin of the attack force for Snow, having these Reavers alive, and I don't see a Dark Archon. Is this a mistake here from Snow?
It might be. He has used the DT to do a lot of good scouting, so he's obviously fully aware of the Mutalist transition, but he doesn't have enough time to get a DA, right? Like, even after you morph the Archon, you've got to wait a whole minute for the energy to tick up to 100. So yeah, he probably doesn't even have the resources spare to like get the Maelstrom upgrade, make 2 DTs and morph it, and wait for the time to get it. He probably will not have a Dark Archon to utilize, I don't imagine. He's going to have to try and defend this third base without it. And there's not that many High Templars either. One of them getting picked off there, and the shuttle. Now the Reaver is also stranded. Some good counterplay here from Action as he tries to collapse onto Snow's army, which is very lacking in splash damage. Now the last of that splash getting taken out by the Mutalist. Reaver is down. Snow in retreat to the third base location. He may even have to cancel this. This is looking pretty dangerous.
Oh my gosh, this is these High Templar here. This is a complete dismantling of the army. Great storm by Snow, but it's not good enough here. This is just too many Hydras. He's likely going to have to cancel this. Oh, maybe this last round of Zealots might hold things back, but...
Oh, it's so close, yeah.
He's really
just
been
barely
dismantled here in this play, losing the Reaver in the shuttle. Then the second Reaver goes down on the ground, and all the High Templar have been killed. This Reaver's super low as well. Action showing the weakness of this build so far.
In a little bit of a sense, it's actually kind of good for Action that the base didn't get cancelled. Now these units are going to have to stay here to defend, and that means that Action has a different win condition of kind of camping between the natural and the third base and threaten two angles of attack and force Snow to allocate defenders here that will probably be cleaned up relatively cost efficiently here. And the Reaver does go down, so yeah, if anything, it was almost good that the base had to be cancelled so that Snow didn't have to worry about this situation that is unfolding as we speak. But there is a couple of Dark Templars starting to chew through some of these. He's actually killing his own Overlord there for a second. He still doesn't have OV speed with 15 minutes into the game, and there's no OV speed despite seeing early Reaver and DTs. I'm kind of shocked by that.
Okay, I'm not sure that this build is fully fleshed out yet, Shun. I like the ideas here from Snow, but I mean, Action is not playing like the game of his life by any stretch, and he's dismantling this pretty easily. Yeah, Snow's gonna lose that third, and it looks like he's gonna get eliminated here as well. GG is called. Game number 1 goes to Action. That's unfortunate. I hope we get to see some more iterations of that build a little further down the way, but I'm going to jump into game number 2 here. All right, Snow, take that build back to the workshop, man. Give it a little bit more polish, maybe a little tune-up. It's not quite ready, I think, for the ASL environment. Felt like it had some promise, but regardless, we have Action versus Royal now on Jane Doe. And tell us a little bit about how this map plays out in TVZ, Shun.
Well, I really like how it basically allows Terran to do whatever they want. There's like not really a build that Terran can't do on this map besides maybe mech not being quite as strong. I really like the tech-centric plays and the aggression that we can see from Terran here. I think this is one of the best maps possible for things like 1-1-1 builds. Two-port Wraith is super viable here, but you don't have to do any of those things as well. You could just play a very strong macro game because you've got this safe back pocket expansion you can take, which means you don't have to make a bunker. You're not so threatened by Ling run-bys or Ling stabs into the natural and what have you. Yeah, I just think it's a really optimized map for Terran, and I feel like Zergs have to play a little bit greedy to compensate.
Whenever there's a situation like this where you kind of have to greed, it opens up a player like Action to all sorts of cheese. Look at this. Royale throwing down a factory proxied at the top left. We've seen this before. I can't remember if it was in Pro League or if it was in KCM. Guys, I cast a lot of games, but this has been a problem for Zergs, trying to open up, even with just, 12 hatch into spawning pool. But here he's gone for 3 hatch before pool. This is an incredibly greedy build that Action's trying to pull off, and Royal is poised to punish.
Yeah, going back to what I was just saying, literally before we saw that third hatchery thrown down, you kind of feel like you have to be greedy as Zerg on this map, and Terrans are metagaming that. They're proxying, they're setting up to punish, and that's exactly what we're seeing here from Royal. Let's see if Action can hang on to this. Already getting a bit of pressure at the ramp now with the Marine SCV combo. Forced to pull some drones. Gets a good surround on the Marine, but good target firing from Royal. Even kills the drone. This is huge. He's going to get 2 drones. Are you kidding me, Royal? What is going on? I think this is a little bit more of a boo-boo from Action than a great play from Royal, but nonetheless, great target firing from him. And this is a lot of lost mining time for Action. This is almost completely negating the advantage of opening up 3 hatchery first when you've now got a Vulture that's about to run into your main as well.
Yeah, it's about to get a lot worse here as the Vulture arrives. The drones are going to start to die, and this Vulture's getting into the main, man. I don't care what you do.
Oh, jeez.
Eventually, it's going to get up here. Trying to surround that with the Lings. There's no way he's going to have Ling speed anytime soon, and double starport on the way behind this.
Yeah.
He's going to run out of drones before he ever gets enough Lings out to deal with this. Great surround, but it actually slips away there. Action. Nothing going right in this game, and he just has to tap out. Royale
Wow.
Takes him down. We're jumping into game number 3. Action gets straight up slapped down. Kind of what I was expecting to happen with Snow versus Action, and it seemed to be kind of going that way. But definitely that build could use some work. Royal now moving forward to take on Best. I think this could be like a round of 4, round of 8 match. Could be absolutely fantastic this upcoming ASL.
I mean, considering how good the games have been in the ASL Open tournament, I imagine we're going to see a lot of fireworks even before ASL is played. So yeah, this could be a really fantastic game here. Very early probe scout from Best, looking to steal that gas. We have seen sometimes Terrans taking that gas before the barracks to negate that and throw a wrench into the Protoss player's game plan, but it does set you back to make that investment. Royal might also just let that go and play a more bunker expandy style, but SCV kind of waiting by the gas and makes the barracks really far back. That's a bit of an interesting placement to put your barracks there, Royal. Maybe anticipating a proxy from Best.
What is this SCV doing? I see. eBay block. That's why he was sending it around the bottom side. He wanted to hide that from Best so that he didn't know that this was coming up. This is actually gonna be super annoying for Best, who's not taking a gas. He's not taking a gas, so he really wants to throw down the Nexus here immediately, and he's just not going to be able to do that, man. This eBay is like got a ton of health on it too, so he was able to just build this for a really long time. Okay. Proxy or Manor Pylon here in the mineral line. That's a little bit annoying, but man, when Best comes out and sees this block at the front, oh, he's gonna go ahead and put some more health on this too. I thought he would actually do more earlier, but yeah, this has got so much health. This is the fastest building, Terran building with a ton of health. And it just takes forever to take down, even with the Zealot.
Yeah, you mean in terms of like HP a second? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think he had to go inside the main base with the SCV to check to see whether or not it was proxy, though. He kind of had to do that. Yeah, I think he was forced to do that. Yeah. But it's still pretty good for Royal. Like, this is really annoying for Best to have to contend with, and Royal had those minerals spare. Like, he can't make his gas. It's like, okay, well, I'll throw an eBay down. That only costs 25 more minerals than a refinery. No big deal. I'm gonna completely sandbag your build order. No, like, 19 Nexus for you or whatever. And yeah, it's gonna be a bit more of a traditional timing of a Nexus from Best. 22 supply. Usually 23 is optimized when you're going for something like a rangeless goon expand with gas and a core, and he hadn't made either of those buildings, so Best is no longer going to be optimized in this game. And look at how quickly Royals timed his CC behind this. It's not that far behind the Nexus of Best, so on paper this is a better economic position for Royal, though with the gas delay you have to still give a little bit of an edge to Best.
And this was planned from Royal from the very beginning of the game. He sent this SCV out really early, and he went out and took the long way around to counter the probe of Best. He guessed that Best would be stealing his gas, and he came up with an idea to try and counter it. I think that Royal has shown some really good optimization and counterplay to this kind of traditional Terran problem. This is a problem that plagues Terran and has plagued Terran on 2-base maps for a really, really long time.
No, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, we've kind of had situations where Terrans just didn't know what to do, and now they've realized, well, hang on a minute, if it's a 2-player map, I know he wants this gas steal. It's probably like a less than a 5% chance that he doesn't try and gas steal me, so let's metagame that and come up with some creative ways to punish or at least even the scales, which he's done with the eBay block, I think. Despite being slower in his tech, now he's in a fantastic economic position. He's not going to be anywhere near as stressed in the mid game as he would usually be, and yeah, I think this is where you want to be against someone like Best. You don't want to let Best get a better macro setup than you. This guy is like the fundamental TOS 101. You do not want to let this guy get an optimized mid game by any stretch of the imagination.
That's right. Best is just such an incredible macro Protoss player that he makes some of the greatest comebacks that we've ever seen here in the KCM. He makes Terran positions look incredibly flimsy, even when on paper they should be unbreakable. He is like on the short list here, I think, of players that should be making it into a semifinal or a final this year. It's just if he can keep his cool under pressure on the ASL stage. We've seen him be really emotional in the past during ASL, but he's gotten deeper than he really has in a long time. I can't remember when the last time he was in like top 4 in ASL before last season, but you know, he's doing better and better. He's looking great, and he may be able to get his emotions under control. I think that's the biggest hurdle for a lot of these guys.
Right. Oh, that's absolutely the case, and some of these guys, Mini is probably the best poster child for that fact. It's just, yeah, like they're super good online, but put them on a stage with lights, cameras, and a crowd, and suddenly there's a lot more nerves, and the dynamic is totally different, and you're not playing from the comfort of your own home anymore. You haven't got the exact same setup when you're playing. It just feels very awkward if you're not doing that on the regular. And even these guys that used to play on the stage all of the time back in the day, they now have the jitters that they did when they first started because they just don't do it as much anymore. And it's not like riding a bike where you can just kind of go back to it. You kind of have to relearn how to control your mental state all over again. We've got a forward starport from Royal here, just behind the minerals at his third base location. So going to be looking to maybe get a vulture drop or something against Best. It's going to be on off timing as well. Best will be anticipating the possibility of this, but now that it's kind of like 7 minutes 30 and nothing's happened, he feels safe to move out and probably won't anticipate the potential of this drop coming in.
Ooh, is he gonna see it? Ooh. Oh, he saw it. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not sure that the dropship saw the Dragoon either. Kind of saw it with the receding vision there. Royal gonna come over here and harass, cause a bit of a distraction. This is all angled to create a situation for Best where his Dragoons are outside of the main, but since he's seen the dropship on the map, he's going to be prepared for it. He's got 3 Dragoons in the natural mineral line. He's got Dragoons here in the main, and he's just ignoring those mines over at the base. He's letting the Nexus build, and he's getting prepared for this drop. And yeah, Royals correctly pulled back with this, realizing that Best is completely prepared. It's not like that starport is bad to have. It's definitely a useful building, and having this drop on the map to cause you know, a little bit of distraction is nice. It's just it's not getting the damage that he was hoping it would.
No, and it would be way better against someone like Snow, who you anticipate to utilize Reavers a lot more. Wait, so you can like follow up with a couple of Wraiths to kind of play like Sark and like start hunting down observers and shuttles with like a pair of Wraiths. And Best does utilize Reavers. We've just seen one pop out there. Maybe he can still utilize that starport and get some Wraiths out to help deal with the shuttle. I'm not so sure Royal will go for that against Best because he knows there's a chance that we won't even see much Reaver usage besides the first 2 to slow down. Bit of a vulture run by that we're missing on screen right now in the third base location, hunting down some of these probes. Pretty good target firing from Royal. He's killing a lot of these probes, man. Like literally only a couple of probes surviving. Okay, 3, he kind of missed shot a little bit there towards the end, but that's a lot of dead probes. And suddenly Royal's position looking pretty good. Yeah, he is getting a couple of Wraiths out, and he is taking this third base now. The more I look at this, the more I'm thinking this is looking a bit of an advantage for Royal going forward.
Yeah, that's dead probes on top of all the slowdown on that third base, right? The third base started after the 7-minute mark, and it was only finished up there recently, and now a ton of the probes have been killed. This is a drop into the main base that could get some damage done. You can see a wide open middle here from Royal. Oh my god. That is so wide open. I can't believe it. Double Reaver, though. You know what? This could actually go kind of bad for him. He's going to lose both these Reavers. He doesn't have a Dragoon or anything to defend against that Wraith. And all the tanks haven't moved. The dive on top of the tanks in the back line, though, is actually going to be pretty successful. Some tanks were pulled back, it seems, and the Vultures will pull back into the main as well. Oh my god, absolutely overwhelmed. Best just walks right over this army. That late third base translates into a very big army here, and he's able to just annihilate this position, killing off so many tanks.
This is wild, Sam. Like, just as I was saying about, oh, maybe this position is a little bit good for Royal, Best is like, hold my beer. I'm gonna just walk in and kill him without even having leg enhancements. This is absolute insanity, and kind of like use those Reavers as sacrificial lambs to draw the attention of Royal away, and then left all these tanks kind of stranded at the third base location. I really do feel like one of the mistakes from Royal here was not to have a Sim City at the third. I feel like you need a landed eBay and some depots blocking, and Best is still killing all of the tanks. This is absolutely crazy. Like, this shouldn't happen. Like, Royal should have had a slightly better setup here. Like I said, a couple of depots maybe, and a landed eBay to block up and buy some time to stop the Dragoons getting in optimal firing positions. These traded so cost efficiently, and he's taking a fourth base in top left.
Yeah, he didn't even have mines in front of those tanks. They just kind of walked right up on top of all of his stuff. That is rough. Royal just lost so much momentum in this game, and he may just be out of it. He's gonna hang on for now, but drops are coming in. This position here is looking very breakable. He does have a scan to try and take out these DTs, and he might actually get both of them. Yeah, I think he just got both DTs, so that's pretty good. No, another DT pops out. Does he have another scan here? Okay. He scans, but immediate pickup. I guess that Wraith was lost during the last engagement. I don't know how it was killed.
Yes.
Okay, he brought it back to actually fight the goons. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, big mistake from Royal, honestly. He should not have brought that Wraith to bear. He should have anticipated. Oh my gosh, he's gonna get the armory. Are you kidding me? And the pickup on at least a couple of those DTs as well. Best playing out of his mind. And then this is like not an easy game to get an advantage in as well. Royal navigated this pretty well in the early game. Look how annoying he's being, man. Like, the amount of... Oh, the shuttle's gonna die to the long bolt missiles of the turret, though. So, not completely bad news only for Royal. But losing this dropship down here, I guess that doesn't matter too much at this stage in the game, although that would have been nice to have, to maybe slip some vultures into the main when Best wasn't quite paying attention. But yeah, this is looking worse and worse for Royal on paper. But he is going to be doing a bit of a vulture stab here in the top. There's only one cannon towards the gas, so could probably get quite a significant count of dead probes back on the tally to even out the odds a bit.
It's crazy how many units Best can still produce, even when everything's kind of
He's got the best macro, man.
He lost so many probes to that run by over at the mineral only, and still just macroed out an insane amount of stuff to go ahead and smash through. Now the SimCity is right. Like, if this SimCity was here, what we're just seeing on screen with the supply depots and the mines there, earlier, this would have been a completely different fight. Rallies probably could have held on, but now we've got Best just dropping here, storming the workers, and pressing Royal into a corner, really forcing his back up against the wall.
Yeah, if you ever I think we watched Mini's FP VOD recently in the Pro League. Like, pretty much most Protoss Pro gamers do not have the level of macro that Best has got. Like, he'll only rarely tick up to like 1,000 minerals or something, and usually at this point in the game when you've got a big economy, whereas players like Mini or Snow, they'll easily just not make units for a very long time because they're so busy looking elsewhere, controlling their units and what have you. Not Best. Like, Best is almost always on top of his production cycles. It's why he's able to bowl over Terrans, because he's always got that round of extra zealots that are about to make their way to the front where most Protoss players wouldn't. And that used to be the thing that set apart gamers back in the day. Like, Jaedong, for example, would always get his Zerglings there a few seconds quicker than other guys, and when you're kind of trying to metagame and practice against other guys, if you're playing against people that can't macro that good or hit the timings that good, you're gonna get into trouble when you face off against the ones that can. A bit of a funny building placement from Best. He's actually kind of got a lot of things blocked up right now, but big drop onto the third base mineral only location kind of botches it, and all of the shuttles and Templars go down. Suddenly Best a little bit worse for wear right now, and good counterattack from Royal as well at the mineral only of Best. Takes out one of the cannons, now starts to ravage the probe line. This is a great comeback mechanic for our Terran. He's killing so many probes here, and Best is struggling to stabilize against this. He will probably lose a total of like a dozen or so probes, and after getting his shuttles taken out and quite a few High Templars as well, suddenly things don't look so bad for Royal. He's pretty much even on supply, and yeah, I think like the stars are starting to align for Royal to make a comeback.
Wow. That was a really unfortunate drop there. I mean, Best, we rarely ever see him kind of hurling shuttles into a Terran position and it not just breaking wide open. Now Royal's going to be able to try and come up here and take this high ground. If he gets this control of this high ground, the map suddenly starts to look pretty closed off for the Protoss player. Like, there's not very many options on what to do. Once Terran is up on this high ground, they can start to split the map, take the bottom right hand corner, start to shove you off of the bottom center, off of the top center, and really split the map in half, and that's not a tenable position for a Protoss player. Oh, cannons up here. That's kind of funny. Throwing up some cannons at bottom right. I mean, that's a nice little placeholder for Best, just to stop Royal from easily going up there and taking that. He knows that that's a factor that could become a factor here soon once Royal comes up this high ground. And so, you know, kind of preempting that, getting out ahead of it is a cute little maneuver from him.
Well, don't forget he did kill the armory earlier, so it has delayed the +2 timing of Royal. He's got that now at 17 minutes 30. He's starting to snake his way down to that bottom right corner, and Best is reasonably set up to maybe make some maneuvers down here, but looks like Royal being quite tentative about how he's pushing down here. He's not really leaving his flank exposed. Best has a massive conga line of Zealots that he could engage with, but honestly there's quite a lot of vultures in good positions to shut that down. And he can't really go in to challenge this at this present moment. He kind of has to wait for Royal to start moving himself before he chooses to engage. But at the very least, he can slow down the setup of this base in the bottom right. He's taking 12 o'clock during all this as well. He does pull the trigger on attacking in here. This could be a little bit of a mistake from Best with how many vultures there are, but some good Sonic Storms are making the difference, blanketing on top of all those clumped up vultures. So not the worst of trades either for Best. He is getting some decent damage done and trying to delay as much as possible.
Royal making me nervous with all these mines under his tanks, man. Like, every time I see one of those, like an entire army sitting there covered in mines, that's a huge rally of cells coming down here. I get a little nervous for the Terran player losing their army, but that high ground is just, it's got so much and such a long line of tanks behind it. Will be really hard to break that. Best seems like he's only concerned about just continuing to not deny on this high ground, and he's still got a foothold up here, so it's possible that he can come up this ramp and continue to make something happen. Just not a lot of Dragoons here, and I don't see too many shuttles on the way either.
Yeah, good scan from Royal. He's identified this massive pocket of Zealots ahead of time, so he's pretty reasonably set up to deal with this. He scans to confirm how much reinforcements there are. Yet again, shuttle comes in to try and lend some support. EMP, though, comes out on the Templars as they drop out. Only one single High Templar with energy to lay down some Sonic Storms, and honestly, that was probably one of the best trades Royal could have hoped for in this situation. Although on the other side of the field, Best does have both of those bases at 12 and 6, so it's not the end of the world to let the Terran get hit the bottom right pocket right now, but now Royal can start to make plays out on the map. Now that he's got this high ground control, does lose the vessel to these Dragoons, and having these Dragoons kind of isolated at the moment is a little bit of a problem. Best trying to allocate more and more forces to try and save these, but it's not going to be enough. Royal steamrolling over the bulk of Best's army, and now Royal's going to be able to lay siege to this base at the 6 o'clock.
Wow, he's just rolling down here and able to shoot over this wall now, killing off a lot of these tanks, or a lot of these probes, excuse me, as the tanks start to get picked off by storms. We're going to start to spread out more and more and stop Best from lining up his base. This is supposed to be a royal base here. If the map was going to split in half, Best is not gonna let this go easily, though. He needs to get in here and do his absolute best to continue to deny this. Not that many Dragoons behind this army. A few coming up here. Another storm on the front line. Needs a follow-up, though. Not another storm on those tanks, so he cannot break through. Once again, another round of Zealots coming forward, but mines are here. High Templars not getting quite good enough storms to actually save this base. Royal rallying, Best rallying as well, but Royal's catching up in supply.
Yeah, I think Best had to kill one of his own gateways in his main base earlier because it was blocking up the circulation of units, and a few things have kind of gone awry for Best besides that, especially with how many probes he's been losing over the course of the game. And despite the good harassment from him and shutting down the upgrade timing of Royal and the delay in the bottom right, doesn't seem like it's phased Royal that much. He just has better trades, and a lot of the time Best has been fighting him in very tight chokes where Terran usually do pretty good unless the storms are phenomenal. Here comes another massive round of Zealots inside shuttles trying to dive bomb on top of this siege tank line here that's currently threatening the 6 o'clock base. There's not even any probes down here anymore. Royal's done a great job of stopping the value of this base, and even if this army does get cleaned up, he has put a massive wrench into the machine engine of Best going forward and starting to open up this 6 o'clock base for him to take himself before the minerals get too dried up.
He's prevented too much mining happening there for Best. He's trapping this army down in this little corner here. This pocket of army should be getting killed off without too much trouble from Royal. And the supplies are getting dangerously close. Royal is pressing forward even further. Got to be careful not to overextend here. The EMP goes down, but the High Templar is already dead. 4 more shuttles making their way forward. The 4 Goliaths here are not going to be enough to deal with those quickly. A High Templar drops up, but gets immediately hit by the mine. A few more High Templars pop out, and they're going to throw down some storms. Everything getting pushed back here, though, with the tanks on the high ground. Best has to keep this base from falling into Terran hands, or he is going to end up losing this game inevitably.
Yeah. This looks really rough for Best, man. He's made some good gambits, but the trades have not been going his way at all. Really good usage of EMP this game from Royal, and target firing in general, just always seeming to come out ahead on those trades. So this Nexus is not long for this world at 6 o'clock. There's not even that many probes saturating the 12 right now, so Best is going to be in a lot of hurt soon. The mineral will only hang on for a few minutes more, and then he's going to be back to just 2 bases worth of mining versus a Terran. That's not a place you want to be as Protoss. He's trying desperately to delay Royal taking this base here at the 6 o'clock position, but it's now inevitable that Royal will be securing this base for himself, and honestly, this is one of the better PVTs I've seen in a long time in terms of how well the Terran has navigated this. This was not an easy game for Royal, to say the least, and he lost so many tanks from that attack from Best. The fact that he's been able to recover this position so effectively makes me think that he's going to be in absolutely fantastic shape for the ASL.
Yeah, he's standing toe-to-toe with Best in terms of his macro, and that's not something that many Terran players can boast. He's been battling for this bottom center for a long time and not missing any beats in this fight. Drop in the bottom center, excuse me, still going to be dealing damage. Storms there on some SCVs, but this is a small drop in the bucket for Royal, who inevitably going to hold this base, and Best he's going to have to maybe do a counterattack try to go into the main.
I guess.
Or I don't know. If you keep just dropping like this, it's not going to win you the game, I don't think, any longer.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, you kind of, when you're playing Gateway Man style like this with the, the Zealot Goon and the shuttle combination of storms, you kind of have to win trades. If you're not winning the trades, you just don't have enough stuff to really carry you throughout the rest of the duration of the game. And that's the problem Best is in right now. This is now a moment he could maybe break Royal, but look at the spread on tanks. Like, one of the things we criticize a lot of Terran players is just not having their tanks well set up, but look at how well spread out everything is for Royal with the minefield in front. This is about as optimal as it gets for a Terran player, and the massive screen of vultures to try and safeguard those tanks in the very back, which are stacked up. This is looking pretty fantastic from Royal. Can Best break through with some pretty phenomenal storms? It looks like the answer's gonna be no. He's been on the back foot for a while now, just because the trades weren't quite going his way, and he lost too much tempo and gave too much breathing room from Royal to get a phenomenal setup. And now Royal doesn't have to do anything. He just needs to maintain the current game state and enjoy his split map condition.
He's just focusing on locking this down best. I think this might be his greatest chance of breaking through is going to be this next push. He's got a little bit of a supply lead now. The tanks have been pushed back pretty far. He's still holding this position. He's not backing away outside of the range, or too far outside of the range of the tanks, because he wants to stay close enough to where the tanks can't easily push forward. But Royal, he's just now getting this high ground online. He's just adding on a few turrets and mines. If Best can crack this right now, he might be able to win this game still.
Yeah, well, the fight before it, he had a pretty sizable supply lead. It was about 180 to 140 in that last fight. Now he's barely ahead by 10 or 20. Gonna try and make a big play for it. Tries to get a storm up on that back row of tanks. Not able to do so. Just a phenomenal play from Royal all around. Most of the tanks are spread out, and the ones in the back kind of acting as a bait to try and draw the attention of potential storms. But that's making it easier for Royal to clean up as well, because he has to commit more deeply with the shuttles and Templars, and then they can get targeted down. This is pretty high level stuff we're seeing from Royal here. I don't think other Terrans have a leg to stand on with their complaints anymore, because Royal is kind of leading the way for how you can abuse Protoss in the modern meta. GG is called, making such light work of Best here. You cannot say that for pretty much any other Terran on the planet. Best is such a beast to deal with, and Royal does it with style. We're now going to be having Royal up against either Soma or Queen. That's coming next.
Here we go, set number 4. Royal spawning in the top left-hand corner versus Soma. Ooh. This is going to be a great match, Shun. This is going to be a fantastic battle here on Octagon. We've just seen the shape that Royal is in right now, and now he's going to be going up against the best Zerg player in the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, basically 2 combatants going to be having a bit of a cage match now, and probably 2 of the heaviest hitters we've got in the scene for their respective races, you could argue, as well. Nothing too crazy from Royal, it seems. Just going to be a normal wall in to start things off, and no early pull from Soma. I mean, it's not really a great map for early pulls, but if you anticipate something like a CC first, it might be a good idea. It could also shut down some cheeses. This center is completely buildable, but we haven't seen a lot of proxies, right, on this map, despite having such a wide open center where you can pretty much build anywhere. It doesn't seem like a lot of players want to go for proxy plays on this map, generally speaking.
Yeah, I'm surprised by it, honestly, Shun. I thought that when I saw this map and I saw that the entire center, all of that dark area in the middle in the octagon, all of that is buildable. I thought, okay, we're definitely going to see some players just try to randomly throw down a couple of barracks, you know, in the corner or whatever, just kind of hope that, you know, you get the... Or right in the center. You can see here someone not even scouting the center, right? Like, he still doesn't know what's going on. And if there were 2 barracks there, you might be in a lot of trouble. But we haven't seen that yet. Seems like Royal, instead, just 1 Rax fast expand. You can't hate on it too much, but man, I would love to see him do another 1-1-1 build. He just excels so much with those style of plays.
No, he really does, but it looks like we're going to be seeing a much more orthodox style from him with how late the gas is being taken here. Sometimes you'll take that at 19 supply to optimize your upgrade timings, but he's not even doing that. He's staying gasless to throw down a second barracks first. He's going to be taking a 21 gas, which is much more orthodox, especially if you want to play straight up 2x bio. Single sunken going to be thrown down by Soma, but Marine's already here with only 2 Lings and an SCV. This is actually a bit of a threat. Like, you can't really fight this and win easily. You kind of have to utilize the drones, and Royal doesn't have to kill drones. He just needs to stop them from mining to make this worth it.
He's going to go behind. Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, this is a problem now. This is a really big problem. Oh, the SCV. Oh my gosh, the SCV. He made a bit of a mistake there. Royal needed the SCV to block those Lings on the top side, and he actually sent that SCV a bit too far. Target fire was a little bit off there too. Maybe he looked away for just a second to throw something down back at home and messed up that micro, but I mean, he could have gotten a little bit more out of it. It still worked out all right for him, though, losing just the 2 Marines and the SCV and forcing quite a bit of lost mining time.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I guess, but that could have been a lot worse for Soma, right? Like, we could have seen that, like, force at least another 10 or so seconds worth of lost mining time at the bare minimum. Could have been quite painful for Soma, because he was being a little bit cheeky, making only 1 single pair of Zerglings and then just relying on a Sunken to do the heavy lifting. That is somewhat metagamed by what Royal was doing. He just kind of blundered the control there a little bit. But nothing that's going to be too damaging to the overall game plan of Royal here, just a bit of a missed opportunity. He's now got a standard move out timing, and Soma knows that he's going to be looking for this timing, so he's slipped a Zergling to run by the defensive line and getting a good scout off in the main base to see exactly what's going on there. Sees the second barracks and the eBay timing, knows there's no shenanigans he doesn't have to worry about now. He's fully accounted for all of the minerals and gas that Royal has at his disposal going forward, and even though you don't necessarily need that as Zerg, it's a nice bonus. But we do see a relatively quick factory from Royal there, saying you usually need to make that by about 7 minutes if you're playing a more SK Terran standard style, but making it just after 5 minutes tends to indicate you want to be a little bit more tech-centric.
Yeah, we could be seeing a Valkyrie play here, just holding off with the 2 racks and getting into Valkyrie as quickly as possible. Also a possibility for a tank push, a fantasy-style tank push as well.
Right.
A lot of options on the table here for Royal. Those tank pushes have been incredibly strong as of late, but crossing the map with it might be a bit of a challenge. We'll see if Soma can pull that apart.
Yeah, it is a pretty big map, and the fact that they're in cross positions makes it a little bit more awkward for Royal. I kind of feel like Zergs might need to go back to using Guardians a little bit more to deal with that downtime while waiting for Consume and Defilers to pop. It is roughly the same amount of time, though. Like, the total time it takes to get the Greater Spire and more for Guardian is almost the same time as it takes to get a Defiler and a Consume, but the only difference is that by the time the Defiler has Consume finished upgrading, they might be breaking you in already, and you have no units to fight under the Dark Swarm, whereas the Guardians obviously will give you that consistent value no matter what, even if they have just broken your sunken line.
That's right, and they sometimes come in incredibly clutch, just breaking those pushes right as the hatchery is being attacked. So
yeah,
I think I can agree with you there, Shun, that we may need to see some more Guardian plays, and especially if Terrans are going to be opening with these tank pushes, which it seems like is going to be the case here from Royal. Look at that armory, and he's going for the add-on on the factory, so he's definitely going to be pushing with tanks here and Valkyries to try and break Soma before Consume.
Yeah, he just scanned inside the main base of Soma there, saw the Hydro Den transition. Doesn't see the Queen's Nest, but he can make that assumption. It'd be very rare for Zergs to transition into Lurkers and not get Hive, so he can be pretty sure of that Hive timing, which means he can dial in the tank push, which is the main thing, right? You need to know what window you're trying to hit, and he will try to get some map control initially with this Bioforce. There'll be a little bit of a time coming until that tank push actually comes online. But first we need to establish dominance over the Mutalisks to have the breathing room necessary to even get across the map to begin with. It takes a little bit of a pot shot at the Valkyrie, but not a full salvo with those Mutalisk glaives. So it's still pretty reasonably healthy on the HP. Can utilize this Valkyrie more as like a point defense for the Bioforce to shave down the HP of the Mutalisk and stop them from shaving down the bio count as a whole. So this is pretty good so far for Royal.
Yeah, very nice slide micro there, getting 3 hits. And that's before even the second Valkyrie pops out. So pretty soon he's going to have multiple Valkyries pounding away damage onto those Mutalisks. And actually, vultures are being made back in motion.
Yeah.
Vultures. Oh my gosh, the Scourge pop out. A second pair. Oh my goodness, Soma. That was some sick micro. That was a bit of a sleight of hand trick there. It was a little magic trick for you.
It was.
The Zerg magic trick where he's like, oh, you got my Scourge? Oh, there's another pair. There we go. Pops it out.
Yeah.
Picks off that second Valkyrie. He might get this one too. Yeah, he does. Royal not being careful, man. So many Terran players fall victim to the same thing. Royal has some of the best Valkyrie micro, I think, in the world, but even he has a really hard time keeping them alive.
They're honestly very hard to keep alive at the pro level, which is why we haven't seen them as much as we used to. A lot of pro gamers were kind of struggling to get consistent value with that unit, and sometimes also microing too much with them, where it would be better just to kind of stand and fight and get them to just get you some raw consistent value. But yeah, this is like a great magician's trick from Soma, using misdirection to kind of fool Royal into a false sense of security, then to reveal another pair of Scourge and the Flock to take down the Valkyrie. Good counterattack from him as well, forcing a cancel on this third base CC. Good Vulture counterattack as well, though, from Royal. Takes out a couple of gas drones. Keeps the pressure on Soma back at home, so he can't relax too much. He's now going to be worried about this Vulture harassment, and now there's going to be mines laid around the map a little bit as well. This makes things a bit more awkward for Soma to navigate. And we're going to be seeing a triple factory mech transition underway from Royal. That makes a little bit more sense. Like, if you're going to open up vultures instead of a tank push, I feel like that usually indicates a mech switch, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. I kind of... oh my gosh, he's going to get a bunch of SCVs here, slowing down this mech switch. And he sees everything too. Some great information for Soma. He can start to make the right choices here in determining how to deal with this. Like, does he want to make queens right now before the factors are even online? Just start pumping hydras. Just taking extra bases immediately to make sure that he has a macro edge here over the Terran as he tries to double expand. But yeah, what I was trying to say there is going into mech does make sense, because the tank push was going to be really hard to pull off cross map for sure. Oh my god, again.
I love to do this to Zerg, by the way. Like, sniping building SCVs just feels so good. Good irradiate, though, from Royal. That did a lot of damage. If only that Mutalisk didn't die so quickly, that would have bruised the Flock up even more. Either way, this is just fantastic slowdown from Soma. Like, this is really hiccuping the advancement of Royal right now. He's got 3 factories that can't even finish. Soma taking a 4th base. One thing going for Royal is he did sneak out this base at the 12 o'clock while all of this has been going on. So he will have a powerful macro engine, just won't be able to actually build the units. And a run by with the Lurkers to the mineral, only denying some mining here, maybe killing a couple of SCVs. Soma is being super annoying to Royal right now, and he's just not letting him get the legs to start leaping forward with his own build. Like, this mech switch has lost a lot of wind.
Yeah, this was a really nice distraction tactic from Soma. He's double expanding behind this, and he could start making mass Hydra if he wants to. I think that's probably what we're gonna see. We may also actually Ultra on the way. Okay.
Ultras, yeah. He wants to keep it chaotic.
I mean, it makes sense. He's doing a great job of keeping control in this game, and that's probably the best way to try and end things. Like, if you have a lead and you can just keep the Terran play on the back foot, flooding Ultras and Lings will kill a lot more consistently than trying to be finesse with lurkers, Hydras, Lings, and Queens, and getting into all that mess.
Yeah, on paper, tanks trade better than Ultras in pure gas count, because you only got 2 tanks per Ultra. But the reality is that if you don't have the tanks mustered all in one place, that's no longer the case. If you can keep the Terran spread thin and create a ladder made out of chaos, suddenly the Ultra Ling actually trades pretty darn good still. So one of the reasons we're seeing the Ultralisks being utilized by Soma is purely because the game has been so chaotic up until this point. He's delayed the mech transition. He knows there won't be that many tanks out, and has a good opportunity to keep the pressure on Royal here and maybe find a win condition just as the mid game is starting to translate into that later phase. Soma's going to have a lot of answers to what Royal is trying to set up and do. Nice little block of Marine Medic though at the 12 o'clock, shuts down the Ling stab, and inversely we see the Vultures easily raiding this base in the bottom left, kills a lot of the drones, and going to be annoying by getting down here in the main base pocket as well, just really delaying Soma from setting up this economy too strongly all at once. Both players doing great jobs of slowing either side down, and does lose quite a few Vultures to his own mind there. A bit of a mistake, but I kind of like the position for Royal. I feel like this is winnable, but he won't have nearly as many units as he should have. He's got like 2,000 minerals banked up because of how long those factories took to actually come online, and his tank count will also suffer as a result. We've even got drop lurkers going to be coming out from Soma, going to be doing some Zerg special forces, hitting him at multiple locations at once and trying to pull him apart.
Oof, if he comes in and starts dropping Lurker Defiler at some of these bases and just dropping the Darkstorm, it's really difficult to clear out when you're going mech like this, because you're usually pretty low on vessels. He's actually got a fair number, but yeah, look at this. Lurker Defiler, now you have to swarm that. You have to swarm, or you have to, excuse me, irradiate this. Otherwise you're just never going to clear it. He does irradiate it. It still takes time though. Gotta sit here and wait for that irradiate to kill the lurker, and it's just a lot of slowdown. Gumming up the works here for Royal as he's trying to transition.
Oh, there's quite a lot of mines in the path of these overlords, which might buy Royal some time, but not that many units to actually stop that from coming in. Okay, there is a tank over there and some more units now coming in. Does lose one of the overlords to the turret as well, so actually will shut down this drop pretty cost efficiently. But he has scouted the base in the top right from Royal. Going to be trying to force a cancel on that. The Vultures will get up there to save it, but that's also good intel for Soma to know what he has to do going forward. It's not going to be super easy for Soma to close out this game, but he's in a pretty phenomenal position. We have 4-1 upgrades on these Ultras already. Royal's going to have a hard job getting all of his tanks leveraged in one single position to actually fight against Soma. He's not going to give Royal a strong frontal engagement if he doesn't want to. He's going to play keep away, kind of like a PVT. This is a pretty good setup from Royal. This is not a bad fight for him. A lot of tanks are on screen right now, able to start target firing down those Ultras. Maybe not the best trade that Soma could have taken, but he is delaying Royal and kind of clogging him up in the center of the map while he gets a cancel on that base in the top right.
You have the cancel in top right, and he was doing a bit of a harassment over at the mineral only as well. Just a Dark Swarm and a Lurker, causing a lot of problems for Royal, forcing out more irradiates and wasting his time when he should be splitting this map in half. He really wants to start filling in the entire map with turrets too, right? He's going to start adding turrets on the left He's added a bunch of turrets in the middle of the map as well. That's going to shut down things like Mutalisk switches. He's not been making, you know, a lot of Goliaths this game, so Mutalisk switch could be pretty painful for him if he doesn't have a lot of those turrets. Also, these drops, he's got to find some way to deal with these drops. They're going to slide in again. There should be some irradiates here for the drops. Oh my gosh, the Scourge coming through, though. Gonna kill a couple of these vessels. The anti-air's just not good enough to deal with this, and that's a lot of ultras right on top of the tanks now, doing exactly what you're talking about. Spreading the Terran thin and then hitting him where he's weak.
Yeah, it's working out great so far. Royal desperately trying to get some more units over here from the left flank of the map, and maybe he can eventually clean this up, but it doesn't look like it's going to be easy. He's thinned out the Terran tank count just enough where the ultras start to trade a little bit better. He's now got enough forces mustered to start fighting this back, but he's taken a lot of damage during all this, and he has another round of units to contend with in just a few moments. He's buying time, pulling the tanks out of position, and then pouncing on them, getting a good flank from the southern hemisphere, and eliminating the majority of the gas units of Royal. Eventually, Royal will clean all of this up, but Soma's done such a great job of slowing him down, just getting cancels on these CCs. Now he's going to threaten a bit of a backstab here at the 12 o'clock and just really stretch Royal thin, both in terms of his APM, but also just forcing him to constantly relocate units around the map, which will make it easier to find new avenues of attack going forward.
Yeah, he's just opened him wide. There's not really a good way to present a unified front here against Soma. He has to spread out so far in order to cover the top right and the top left. He's trying to just get a force onto this high ground, but every time he almost does, he's met by another round of ultras. Here comes more links, more ultras. Not enough mines here. Did everything, but one pretty solid mine connects. Another pretty good one here. No, the Defiler's making its way forward as well. That's going to throw yet another wrench into things for Royal to try and deal with. He's cut him off from setting up in the top right-hand corner, and this base is not going to be lasting too much longer. Soma, it seems like he's doing it here at the 30 supply advantage.
Yeah, I mean, if there wasn't so much slowdown in that top right, maybe Royal could have even had some factories up here by now, helping pump out that tank count and securing it. As it stands, that doesn't exist. The mines are pretty much all that's here to hold off counterattacks, and some vessels can also do a bit of a cleanup on Alpha with their radiates. And another beautiful thing about attacking up into this pocket is it further forces Terran to overextend here in the top right. Soma can then look to attack into 12 o'clock as well now. He doesn't have to keep running it down on this base in the top right. Just as Royal gets all of his forces set up here, he could either attack 12. It looks like he's not going to do that, though. It looks like he's setting up to do some bombs on those tanks. He's got Overlords loaded up with Ultraling. Yet again, hunting down some of these vessels is pretty much no anti-air besides a few scattered turrets, so he's easily killing off that vessel count. And now he's got a bit of a conga line of Lings running into the tanks, with Overlords dropping out onto them as well. Just as Royal started to move towards the center, Soma splitting him back open yet again.
This is getting very bad for Royal. We may see a tap out here pretty soon. This Dark Swarm is going to slow him down so darn much in retaking this area. And, we haven't even seen it yet, but he could potentially go directly into a Mutalisk switch now. There's like one Goliath, and all the turrets have been killed so many times. A big round of Mutalisk might just completely destroy Royal. You may not even need to do so, though. Just continuing with this ultra play is kind of polishing off Royal as he starts to mine out in the top center and the mineral only as well.
Yeah, sometimes you can do the muta switch, but it's a big gas investment, and if there's a few vessels out, it doesn't always feel super good. It is an option, but it might be a little bit too risky here for Soma. It might just make more sense to run it down with the Ultraling. He's done it pretty much to perfection so far. Just when Royal yet again starts to get set up, another massive round of units come in. There's so many Ultra Link popping out of Overlords and Dark Swarms being thrown down in their wake. Royal's not even trading that bad. It's just not good enough to keep up with Soma. He will clean this force up yet again, but after losing pretty much his entire tank count, and Soma is playing a pretty masterful game. And don't forget, 9 o'clock is still open to be taken as well. Soma has other options to keep expanding and get more gas online soon. He hasn't even taken his mineral onlys, basically. He's not even started to mine either one of those bases, so he has plenty of minerals available to keep flooding links as well. He may have to start to make a gambit at taking a gas soon. He's about to be dried up on a couple of his gases in the next minute or two. So he will have to either be hyper aggressive and run it down on Royal and find some big success soon, or try and make a play for that 9 o'clock.
All right, another drop here. Not really going Soma's way. He's still got a big supply leak, and he's even cutting off the top right-hand corner with a Dark Storm here with a Lurker as well. Only one vessel means that he's really not going to have the radiates necessary to clear this. I'm pretty shocked that Royal's been able to stay in this game, honestly, this long. He still might be dead. He still might fall apart here, but I'm super impressed that he's just hanging in there with this mech play.
No, he's doing a pretty good job. I wonder, is Soma trying to do a Lurker harass? Yes, I was wondering if he was going to do a Lurker drop behind this mineral only. And he exactly is doing that. It's fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't be able to play anywhere near as good as Soma, but I would certainly try and do things like this on this map in particular. Polestar is another good example of being able to hit these mineral-only third base locations from inside the main base portion. And he's already opened up this whole position, so you might as well go for plays like this. It's just going to further sandbag the economy of Royal overall. But Royal, like you say, he's been playing pretty fantastically despite how bad the situation has gotten. He is making plays, he is holding his own, now pressuring this base at the 3 o'clock. If he can just keep trading well going forward, suddenly the tide could turn for Soma. He can't afford to lose this gas at the 3 o'clock. He's about to be mined out elsewhere in the next minute. He needs to keep this base online. Royal knows it, that's why he's making a play for it now, but does lose so much of his army underneath those Dark Swarm clouds. It doesn't look like Royal is going to be successful at shutting this base down at the 3.
I don't know if he needs to shut this down. I think just taking the base here at the natural would be all right, but putting on pressure now too, that's kind of incredible. And he's going to come over here and kill a bunch of drones in the middle only. Is he too wide open though back at home? These drops are going to kill so many tanks. Another round of forces makes their way forward. No Dark Swarm though, so tanks are going to trade reasonably well, just targeting down Ultra after Ultra, and he's killed a lot of drones on some side of the map. Pushing forward even more. Dude, is Royal actually doing this? Even though he's 50 supply behind, he's still making it close.
It is very close. I still am a little bit worried for him. I feel like he's lost a few too many tanks in the course of this game, and we'll have a hard job assaulting this base at the 3 o'clock. Is another massive counter from Soma. Now on the left-hand side of the map towards the mineral-only location. Going to be running it down straight into the natural. He doesn't actually have to punish this mineral-only. What he really wants to do is get on top of the production line of the Terran. He's got a few rallied forces here, but it won't be enough to hang on. And if Soma is suddenly knocking on the gates and getting units on top of the factories as units are circulating out, suddenly Royal can't reinforce this front anymore. And even saying that, Soma has done a pretty good job of cleaning up the units on that front, so Royal can't even maintain his aggression, maybe even if this wasn't happening inside of his main base. This is a pretty masterful play from both players. It's just Soma has executed this to perfection. He's in retreat now with pretty much his entire force, and Soma even going to be catching him in the field with some Zerglings to slow down those units even further. And now a counterattack on the right side of the map, a bit of a 1-2 punch combination, trying to go for the win condition right here and now.
Bit of a textbook swinging back and forth here from Soma. Will finally break open Royal. He was looking almost unstoppable there as he slowly crawled over towards the right-hand side of the map, but Soma punching through into the main, opened up Royal for that finishing blow. Finally, a Terran player has been removed from this lineup. Soma versus Bisu is next, though. Another exciting game here in Week 8. Very strong showing from Royal today, taking Soma so long to actually break him open. I thought he had a great advantage for a good part of that game, but now he's here. Made his way forward, spawning in the bottom left against Bisu. And he's actually got a great opportunity to all-kill today. Soma doesn't have to beat Best or Snow. He just has to beat Bisu here, and then he's just clear through for the rest of the Terran players if he can take them all out. 5 million won for him. And plus he gets a facial mask as well, or a facial treatment as well. I mean, it's a pretty sick deal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could like give that to your girlfriend if you weren't into it yourself. But yeah, nice little prize to pick up. I saw a statistic in the bottom right that was saying like 69% PVZ. I'm not sure if it means like recent games on this map in the KCM or what that statistic actually was reflecting. I wonder if it was PVZ on this map, which would be kind of insane. I wouldn't have thought that we had 70% Protoss win rate on this map.
I believe it. This map is so hard, man. For me, personally, I feel like
kind of crazy.
I have such a hard time playing Zerg on this map. I'm glad that it's not just me, man. It's the fact that there's so many different ways to attack as you're taking your 4th base. So Soma here, he's probably going to take the 4th down at bottom center. And as you're taking that, like there's so many different angles. You can come across the bridges here on screen into the natural. You can go up the ramp onto the high ground, or you can come straight down the middle through to the 6 and go either direction, or you can go up the high ground on the right hand side and come down into the 4th base. And it's just really difficult to maneuver lurkers in the mid game to try and block all of those different angles, and I'm sure that Bisu is going to show us exactly how to punish using those factors.
I would imagine so. Good block with the probe, although Soma doesn't quite have the minerals to throw that down. He is going to pile on block regardless. I think you're right about that assessment, and also with those lanes of attack, most of it's pretty choked up as well. Pretty good for Psionic Storms to blanket your units. Like, say, these bridges and the alleyway towards the 6 is definitely great for High Templar usage. So I can see that. I can see Zerg's having a hard time on this map. I looked up the statistics while you were talking. It's a lot less than 70%. It's something like 54% or something for Protoss. So maybe that was a very small sample size of recent games on this map where Zerg players are struggling. But it does seem to be a very strong map for Protoss.
Yeah, it might just be KCM games this season or something like that. We're not sure.
Maybe yeah.
Soma here was having a hard time getting his hatchery down at the natural. The Zealot arrived, but Lings are now being aggressive, chasing down the Zealot. Bisu pulls all the way back. Can't get the surround on this thing. He's just going to be able to retreat. Oh, there we go. He does actually surround that. A little bit of a miss micro there. He pretty much had the surround on that Zealot. Does end up taking it down here at the end. Bisu does not have a probe in this wall to try and fully block this, so a run by is absolutely possible. So Bisu actually needs to pull one probe at least to get behind that Zealot. Another Zealot gonna pop out here, and he does have the full block, but no cannon start just yet. Bisu trying to be super optimal, throwing down, I believe, the Cybernetics core in the main before going for a cannon. Is he gonna get punished for it?
I mean, Bisu's kind of calling Soma's bluff. I think a lot of Zerg players would be tempted to flood Lings in this position, but Soma's not. Soma's droning, and I think Bisu anticipates Soma not trying to punish this and kind of get hyper aggressive, and he's made the right call. I think Bisu knew it was an awkward position, but he knew that if he wants to get into, oh my gosh, this surround is a little bit crazy. If he he does catch one of these zealots. That's really painful for Bisu. I don't know why he was trying to move out just before the cannon finished warping, and that's a massive mistake from Bisu. Unfortunately, just when I was kind of singing his praises, because I thought he was doing a great job of being a little bit risky by, you know, circumnavigating, just throwing down a cannon right away and messing up his build order timings. He was optimizing to his heart's content and kind of calling the bluff of Soma, but then kind of punishes himself by moving out a little bit too early.
The classic caster's curse. Bisu loses quite a bit of his early zealot forces there to just a small pack of lings, and now Soma can drone unimpeded here, throwing down a second gas really early. Oh man, I think we might be seeing some sort of risky Mutalist play here. Maybe an Ogre Zerg Gamer style maneuver from Soma.
Well, it is a mineral only third, so maybe the idea is to put on pressure with mutas, but it might not be Ogre Zerg. It might just be, I know I don't have 3 gases, so I want to get that mining as soon as possible so I can be more optimal with my transitions and not be locked into pure Hydra. So I think he is going to make Mutalisks. I just don't think he's going to make 10. I think he's going to make like 5 and some Scourge, right?
Yeah, 5 and some Scourge can break the cannon in the main. If you only have 1 cannon in there, you can still kind of Ogre Zerg it, just fly into the main. You know, at least force the probes away, kill the cannon, maybe kill some Corsairs, and then follow up with more mutas if you feel like the play is working. We're gonna have to see how many Sunkens he throws down. That's a real indicator to whether the Zerg player is going for that style or not. If they're not throwing down Sunkens, then you're not going to be committing all of your mutas across the map to deal damage. You just won't be able to hold on back to home. Hydra Den is set up here in the natural and kind of an awkward position, but I was hoping that maybe that wouldn't get scouted, I think. Otherwise, you probably want that as part of your wall, right? Just kind of tucking in the corner. Is that an Evo chamber in the main base as well? What's that building that just went up after Bisu left the base?
It's got to be an Evo chamber. Like, you can't make a Queen's Nest right now. It just makes no sense. So yeah, I imagine that is an Evo. But I think you're right in assessing that it's a little bit awkward to make the den there. Usually you would want that in your Sim City. A bit of a precarious setup. I don't know if he was trying to hide that from Bisu or sell him a false bill of goods as well and try and obfuscate what he's doing, because he does usually like to play this cross-text style, and it does look like he wants to pump Hydra, but without that Sim City, without a sunken setup, Bisu will at least get a little bit of a good trade going. He's not going to break Soma here, but might be able to trade off enough of these Hydras to put himself into a pretty strong position. Oh my god, he's actually might just be able to run by into the main with these zealots if Soma's not careful, or just start targeting down the sunken. Drones do come off the line to assist, but one of the sunkens is breached. A couple more zealots coming in as well. The mutas are starting to pop out, but not quick enough. He gets a good surround on that other sunken. He's not going to kill Soma with this, but he's certainly going to do a lot of damage. Now finally running into the main with a trio of zealots to put the pressure on just as Soma's cleaning up in the natural. Suddenly he's now got to deal with these zealots in the main, and Mutalisks, despite being great units, do not have high DPS output individually, so it takes them a long time to actually kill these zealots. So quite a few drones went down during all of that.
One of the things that shocks me the most about pro players like Soma is when they're able to recover from a position like this. I look at that and I know what that feels like. When you start losing drones in the main, you've lost all your sunkens, and the zealot timing has done that much damage, it feels nearly unwinnable in my games. Yeah, but somehow, some way, players like Soma can still kind of make it work. Let's see if he can actually pull things back from this spot, because that was a lot of damage. And Bisu is on the rails here. He's going to be getting into his 8 gateway play and likely just going for a 2-base timing, right? Like, a 2-base timing is going to be very hard to stop from Bisu at this point. Like, he is really going to struggle to break this. He hasn't killed any Corsairs, by the way, so 7 Corsairs here means that just diving on High Temple with mutas is not going to be the perfect solution to stopping Bisu.
Yeah, he's got a couple of pairs of Scourge, which easily start to get gunned down. And the 2-base timing is going to be strong anyway, but the fact that it's a mineral-only third makes it that much stronger. You can't just transition into a massive flock of Mutalisks or Lurkers on the ground. You don't have that many options as Zerg. You're pretty much predominantly pumping Hydra to deal with this, and he already lost quite a few Hydras and took some hits to his economy. He can't get as many Hydras out as he would usually, and suddenly we have pretty much total map control from Bisu. He's got an Archon going to be on the way as well, going to be acting point defense to help deal with the Scourge and the Mutas, which will be the aim of the game for Soma. He needs to gain air superiority by catching these Corsairs. Does kill one, but now with that Archon in conjunction with those Corsairs, he's going to have a hard time getting control of the skies right now. Looks like Soma's aim of the game is to go for a counter-attack in the natural. It's going to force the Corsairs to go back home, but now he still has to contend with this Zealot Archon that's coming in the front. He has got a pretty good setup though. A lot of Hydras with that Sunken create a pretty strong wall, denying surface area to those Zealots for doing optimal DPS. So Soma kind of defending by attacking right now. This also stops him from losing all of his Overlords for free and getting supply blocked, for example. So there is a little bit of a glimmer of hope here for Soma.
Wow. Bisu did not track down those Mutas. I am shocked. I thought he was definitely going to be able to dive on those and kill every single Muta here. I was going to say, Soma needs to play another magic trick here, man. He needs to pull out another rabbit from the hat like he did against Royal earlier if he wants to win this, but he actually forced a mistake out of Bisu. Bisu missed these Mutas, and now the Mutas are coming back in again. He didn't kill these, so there's going to be even more damage inside this natural, and this is going to force another turnaround for Bisu. He's actually going for it. He's sending half the army, or he's sending the ground army, and he's sending the Mutalisks back. Scourge are going to catch these on the way back, and they might actually open a hole for the Mutas to escape again.
No,
oh my
again.
gosh, he got away again.
That's crazy to me. I'm surprised that Bisu didn't anticipate that, honestly. I don't know if he's just flustered or something. I don't think it matters anyway. The Mutalisks didn't run away far enough, so a bit of a mistake here from Soma to just kind of like click them down to the bottom right and then not pay attention himself. A little bit of blunder from both sides here. Bisu does still come out quite a bit ahead. Soma, though, being a bit cheeksy. He's got a ninja expansion in the top left as his fourth. He is looking to slowly come back in this game over the next few minutes. Will take him a while to get there. Bisu himself taking a third base at the mineral only. He's still looking pretty strong. On paper, this is definitely a Bisu game going forward, but Soma certainly has aligned some stars for himself. Like with that base hidden in the top left, and enough time being bought by him by the constant Muta harass in the natural, suddenly this game doesn't look that flimsy for him.
His drone count is looking a bit light though, Shun. I have to say the natural third just does not have the massive drones that he would usually in a game at this time, at this point.
And no Lurkers.
And no Lurkers. When the Protoss is taking the third, you kind of have to already be set up with 45 drones, saturating 3 bases, and getting your 4th base on the way. And he just doesn't have that. Zealot barely slips by here into the top left, going to reveal this base. That's super annoying as well. Soma not even sending units to go deal with that. He has to pull the drones away. Super, super annoying, man. He is really having a tough time this game, trying to take down Bisu. I'm not sure we're going to see him take the all-kill prize here, but he's still got some life. Can he dive on top of a High Templar? There we go. One High Templar, the other was pulled back. But that's a good start here for Soma to try and mount a comeback.
It's something. He's going to pull the army out of position, poke in the back as well, but Bisu set up pretty much strong. He's not putting all of his eggs in one basket. He's kept a few defenders back at home to defend the cannons as well. This is looking rough for Soma, man. Bisu is playing absolutely out of his mind this game. There was a few blunders with the Corsair movement maybe, but besides that, Bisu has just been firing in all cylinders, and now now Soma is basically pinned in this top left base. He's going to have to make some lurker eggs in the gap on this ramp or something. Either way, this is still good for Bisu. Like, the army being pinned in the top left like this kind of opens up the rest of the map. There's a decent amount of Hydras for Soma, but nothing else. Like, he needs lurkers right now. He needs Hive on the way, and he doesn't have either of those things. Bisu taking a 4th base behind this as an insurance policy as well. I'm super impressed with Bisu's PvZ right now.
Bisu could have actually left like 6 Zealots in the top left with a High Templar and just denied those Hydras from leaving the base. But as it stands, he's going to fight half the army while the other half is coming down from top left. So this is a great situation for Bisu to take this fight. There's a couple sunken colonies here, but the storms are ravaging these units. It's just going to be a counterattack from Soma. He's hoping that his rallies and these lurkers popping out right now can save him, but just storms raining down on everything. The drones are going to have to make a run for it, and he's going to lose a massive part of his production on that high ground. And there's not really much coming back for it unless from this sort of position, unless he can kill the bases. Bisu waits. He's going to get the High Templar. Hold on. High Templar go down for free there. 1 DT pops out. That's going to be annoying for Soma, but he can, I think, target down this Nexus here. He might be able to just get that. Okay, killing another High Templar. Zealot's going to fall as well. Counter right here into the natural. Can he actually break the natural? I don't see any lurkers there. Maybe make a lurker egg on the ramp or something. This is getting crazy, Shun. Army is pretty big. That's a lot of Dragoons on top of the production.
Ooh, I think Bisu still got it with that army. But nice gambit here from Soma. A little bit suboptimal. He should have used the lurker to kill the probes and the Hydras on the Nexus, but it's still a decent comeback mechanic from Soma. The problem is he can't clean up this army that's knocking in his front door right now. He can't play this game 1 base to 2. I like the idea from Soma, though. He's kind of like trying to roll the dice and hopefully get the best possible roll for defending this army inside the natural. He kind of needs to do some counter damage, find compensation, and hold back at home. He kind of needs to have his cake and eat it to win this game, but unfortunately it's not going to pan out. He did kill cancel the base at 12, kill the base at the 3rd, but it's not enough. He didn't defend back at home. He's going to lose his main and his natural, and as I said, he can't fight 1 base versus 2, so that's going to be game.
Bisu to take out the second Zerg player from the squad here. No 2 ways about it, man. You cannot lose this main base right now. You cannot go down to 1 base versus Bisu here. Even though he's running low on minerals at the natural, he's going to have this base online in just a moment. He can take another expansion, and you're never going to trade favorably against the Protoss player here. And Soma knows it. GG is called. Bisu takes out the ASL champion. All right, next up we got Light versus Bisu. Light spawning over here in the top left. Bisu. Vertical spawns on Attitude. This map has been traditionally pretty tough for Protoss in the matchup. I think due to the structure of the natural and that kind of island peninsula. No, what would you call that? The little island there, right out in front of that natural. I'm thinking of like a kitchen island, a plateau. There you go. Like a little plateau there in the front that chokes up that area really significantly, making it very hard for the Protoss to break Terran on 3 base.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we got between Light and Bisu. I need to see more from Light. Like, I know he's a top Terran pretty much all year round. Despite his experience, though, he does sometimes have a little bit of a disappointing record in ASL over the last couple of years. I don't want that to be the case this year around. I need to see a few more games from him and see how well dialed in he's going to be, because I know we've got Royal and Rush as kind of the Terran hope this season, and we've even got maybe Flash coming in as well. But it would be super cool to have at least 1 more Terran that's looking super solid. And I think despite there being like speed and sharp, which can sometimes perform, they don't usually go super deep as well. So I really want to eyeball like this game and see just what kind of shape he's in.
Light has one of the best win rates in Pro League right now, 60.9%.
It's pretty good.
Nice. Light.
That's pretty good.
Definitely a strong Terran. And one of those players you just want to have on your team as well. Like, he's a very smart guy. Definitely an asset to the Terran lineup, not just in game, but of course, you know, as a coach, as a teammate, has a lot of great insight for his Terran buddies there.
That's for sure. Probably not many other people can rival him in terms of just raw experience and knowledge. Like, he's definitely up there with some of the all-time greats. So yeah, I can imagine wanting him to be on your team. A little bit of pressure coming from BC right off the bat. Zealot getting in here. He probably won't get much of a slowdown on this factory with the Marine Microbe Light. It is possible, but he's doing the right thing of pulling a couple of SCVs to deny that eventuality from occurring. So he's going to be super safe, get that factory finished up, and the other Zealot is far too far away to really surmount too much pressure here. He's going to have to fall back and wait for a Dragoon, it seems.
Yeah, and we'll see how smoothly Light can come down this ramp when the Vulture pops out. Get that bunker online and get this CC started. Bisu delaying his own Nexus for a bit here. Hasn't thrown that down just yet. Seems like he wants to continue with the pressure. Does have to make a run for it here as the Vulture finally does get out on the map. Is he going to keep the Vulture here to help him push down? Yeah, it seems like he doesn't want to do a little run around or anything like that. Just wants to make sure that he's got this here for the extra DPS. Targeting down a Zealot right now, trying to get some good damage on that. Does get the 2 Marines in there. 1 SCV going to be targeted down, and a run by. It's a little bit crazy from Bisu to try and run by here into the main base. A tank will be out shortly. He may end up losing that Dragoon now. What can he actually do with this attack into the main? Can he actually get some additional damage here besides just killing 1 Marine?
Not really, no. He's going to have to pull back into the natural. Maybe get a cancel on the CC. That would have been nice if he killed the SCV building the CC and then got out. He had a bit of shield HP to donate for that, but he just tries to get out of there as quickly as possible. Wasn't the worst trade for him though, right? Killed everything on the way out, kind of. Wasn't terrible. Only 2 Marines in that bunker now. It's something you can punish later on as well, like especially before siege is set up. He might want to try and run it down a little bit in this natural. He can put pressure on with the first few Dragoons that he has got out. Ideally you want to wait for 4 so you can 2-shot that tank. He has significantly delayed his Nexus to do this early pressure, so maybe he felt like he had to go for something, but I feel like the run by into the main was a little bit unnecessary. I would have much rather him just kill this SCV on the CC and delay that a bit and then got out.
He killed the first Vulture. I guess that's something, right? Light's actually going to tank push right now with a few Marines. Let's see if he can't punish Bisu for having a lot of low HP Dragoons. Those are healing up there. Shields right now and setting up a line here of 4 Dragoons to try and gun down a tank quickly. But here comes the Vultures with some mines. Tanks are going to press forward and try to put a little bit of punishment onto Bisu. Target fire onto that Vulture. He almost got it before even a second mine could come out. Great target fire on that tank. Not quick enough to pull back that tank, and so Light really not going to make much progress here. Barely able to set up mines in front of Bisu's base.
And Light is not as safe as he would usually be with mines. Like, he knows Bisu is one of those guys that is confident to mine sweep without observers, and that's why he's very quickly pulling back here. He knows that Bisu will probably wait for the observer, but there was a small chance that Bisu could have tried to mine sweep while Light was kind of hanging out a little bit down there. So you kind of have to full retreat against someone of Bisu's caliber in that situation. You can't take any liberties. You might just get absolutely decimated. Now the observer's out. Going to be getting some map control, and Light's been on just one factory for quite a while, so I don't think he's going to have any chance at doing much of anything else in this game until he's ready to do a big push, because there's nothing to slow down Bisu taking this third, although it is a very conservative third, it has to be said. Like, Bisu did not play greedy this game in any sense of the word. He's basically done the most mid-range style possible and leaned towards the side of pressure rather than economy. So it has slowed down his own growth, so Light won't be too stressed out about any significant pressure coming out of Bisu. It will be a Reaver for slowdown from Bisu, maybe anticipating Light going up into either an early 3 factory or most likely a 4 or 5 factory push coming up, and looks like Bisu's going to compensate. He's realized how slow his growth has been, and he's going to take a greedy 4th base timing.
This could work out really, really well for Bisu. This punishment, though, oh my gosh. Quite a few probes are going to go down. This is after the mines are already laid, so Light getting maximum value out of those next 2 vultures. Bisu getting punished here, and here comes the 3rd and 4th factory. I think he's totally aware of the 6 o'clock because he had that mine there. He knows that Bisu wouldn't clear that with the Dragoon unless he was eager to go and take that right away. So are we going to actually see a punish out of Light try to come across the map and put the hurt on Bisu as he's trying to recover from this damage and get this 4th base online quickly? If you manage to get in front of that little island, that plateau we were talking about earlier, in front of the Protoss Natural, it can be insanely difficult to dislodge the Terran push at that point.
Yeah, I think there will definitely be a lot of pressure from Light this game, regardless. He's going to do a 5 factory, and this is not just to expand. He's going to maybe expand behind a push, but he's going to push. I'd be very surprised if Light doesn't get a little bit aggressive going forward. Is trying to see if he can maybe hunt down this observer inside the main base. He needs to be super careful about how he utilizes his scans, though. You can't just throw away a scan and not kill the observer, and he's waiting for that 2nd Goliath to ensure that, but now he doesn't know where exactly the observer is, and he wastes the scan. A little bit of a sneaky play there from Bisu, hiding his observer in a not so obvious position. And yeah, you do not feel good as a Terran wasting scans, man. That puts you in a very awkward position because the Protoss still has vision of you, and you now have less utility to gain vision on what the Protoss is up to.
That's really painful. Bisu gearing up here with his gateways now that he's seen 5 factory, knows that he needs to match production by adding on a lot of his own. +1 is done. I think we're going to see a 1-1 timing from Light, and it could be pretty difficult to stop. We'll have to see how Bisu's micro with his Reavers is today, because he's historically been a little bit shaky with it. Like, he's not quite as good as Snow at slowing down the aggressive pushes. He's not quite as optimal as Best at breaking those pushes either. I'm really curious to see how Bisu's doing against Terran here, and if he can stop Light after beating Soma in the last game. Like, that is a huge statement for him, showing his skill, his class right now. And his old rival Jaedong is incredibly good. He's incredibly strong. He's actually the highest player on the ELO board for Pro League right now. Highest rated player on the ELO board, which is nuts. So we could end up seeing like Bisu versus Jaedong. Not necessarily the finals, I don't think, but we could see round of 4, round of 8, which would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I mean, we have been seeing a lot of people raising their dongers in the chat in Pro League just with how spectacular he's playing. We even had that funny moment where Shuttle kind of really made Jaedong mad, so much so that Jaedong uncharacteristically was literally screaming at his screen And seemed that it made Jaedong play even better afterwards, though, right? It was like it lit a fire in Jaedong and he went on a rampage afterwards. A lot of craziness in the Pro League. You should definitely check out Sayan's stream much later on in the day than when KCM is usually going live. But you should check it out. It's definitely a good time. As it stands, seems like Light being a little bit more cautious, kind of gearing up for that 1-1 timing like you were suspecting. Is going to be sitting back on this third base. I thought he'd be a tiny bit more aggressive than this. Bisu did only stay on like 5-6 gateway for a very long time. He's only just now starting to get a high supply count and tons of units pumping out. Light could have tried to punish that, but he's not elected to do so. He's being a little bit more reserved. Now Bisu trying to do a poor man's recall into the main base, but good turret and mine set up here, making it very hard to get in here and do a lot of damage. Does get the 2 Reavers deep inside the main base. Pretty significant damage, catching the tail end of the SCV line as it's in transit to safety. Not the worst trades here for Bisu, but nowhere near the best either. He's gonna maybe try and hide in this pocket a little bit, but eventually that's going to get cleaned up. And honestly, this went pretty good for Light. Like, that was probably one of the better ends of the stick that he could have hoped for, and that was a big investment from Bisu.
That was a really quick reaction from him, man. Like, he moved super fast as Bisu was coming into the main, and he had a great setup already. I expect nothing less from Light. Full preparation for an attack like that. Gonna come down from the high ground, but this is a super choked up area. You never really want to come down a ramp like this into a Terran line, and I don't think this is gonna go too well for Bisu. The Storm is nice, killing one of those tanks and really dealing a lot of damage to the other, but man, bottlenecking yourself like this seems like such a self-defeating attack. Like, this is crazy from BC. He's losing so much right now. It's kind of nuts. He is staying ahead in supply, but his army is filtering in to a very deep tank line right now.
Yeah, I mean, Bisu did have a crazy supply lead at the start of that attack, and despite that, with that choke, it's nowhere near as much of a difference anymore. Like, just barely 30 supply ahead, and he was like about 60 supply ahead just a moment ago. Let's see though, maybe Light overextends with this attack. Bisu trying to run it down with his leg enhanced zealots, and that's a pretty good storm on those trio of tanks there towards the front now. Getting some pretty good value with these trades is Bisu. Has the Reaver as well, doing a lot of damage with these Scarabs. I think eventually Light will win this fight, but he has traded off a lot of tanks to do so.
And it's a shame that Light didn't wait for a round of vultures there. He was so eager to go for the attack. You know, this is... Oh gosh, that was really close to an amazing mine connection, but it ends up not hitting there. And Light just has to back up. If he had some vultures, if he'd waited for a round of vultures, I think this would have gone really well, and we'd see, you know, Bisu on the back foot, you know, just barely defending his natural against Light. But he's now sitting pretty here on a 5th base coming up in bottom right. Oh, this catch is amazing though. This is some moves that Light actually desperately needs to try and come back in this game. He's killing so many probes here. There is still a few to transfer into that base, but not even enough to saturate all the minerals, or not even enough to mine off of all the minerals here in the bottom right.
Yeah, that's some good plays from Light, but also Bisu, you know, getting a slowdown on Light trying to take a 4th base at the 12 o'clock, and if Bisu can get some more gateways down here in the bottom right, he's looking pretty good. He got up to 5 bases pretty quickly, relative obviously to what Light is doing. And yeah, I mean, Bisu is making Light take a lot of time to actually get this 4th base set up eventually, and that kind of slowdown is going to be painful. I mean, Light is back to being about 60-70 supply behind the threshold of Bisu being maxed out right now, and if he spread a little bit too thin trying to secure that 4th, he will get bowled over. But he is wise. He's pulled his army back towards that mineral only. He knows that's the point of contention right now. He knows he's in a bit of a sticky situation. Tanks sieging up a little bit awkwardly in the back line, a bit clumped up. Good Sonic Storm Storms on the SCV train trying to evacuate as well. These trades are going really well for Bisu. Suddenly Light looking like he's in a lot of trouble. He's lost any kinds of resemblance of critical mass, and Bisu is going to have a bit of a field day with him. Zealots on top of the tanks now. Nowhere near enough vultures to screen. GG is called, and Bisu smacking down high-level players like Soma and Light without too much of breaking a sweat, San. Pretty impressive stuff. He's going to be facing off against Queen next.
Wow, what world are we living in, Shun, where we've got Bisu, Jaedong, and Flash looking amazing going into Season 21 of ASL? That's kind of incredible. I really don't know what to say about that. I mean, imagine, Bisu, Flash and Jaedong in the top 4. You know, throw Snow in there or something as well, or Soma. Like, the amount of hype in ASL would be so insane if we ended up seeing, you know, some of these guys at the highest level, Bisu and Jaedong, just so beloved in the scene.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I'm all for it, saying I'm super stoked for this season of ASL. It seems like they keep getting better as the years tick by, at least the last 3. The last 2 and this one included. Yeah, I'm kind of blown away by it. I'd be super happy if we see any one of those guys taking somewhat of a deep run. Even just the round of 8 would be great. I don't think necessarily that Flash will be taking the tournament by storm. I think a round of 8 would be pretty respectable for him. I would super love to see him in the round of 4 and beyond, but don't think it's super likely, nowhere near as much as it would be back in his you know, apex form where he was pretty much dominating the scene. So I want people to maybe temper their expectations a little bit, but either way, it's going to be a seriously hyped tournament. Queen putting on some pressure with the Zerglings. Tries to get us around on Zealot as it pops out. Not going to get it. Bit of a mini game here, which is usual for a gateway expand in the current meta game. Kind of have to keep this choke to your main base blocked up while filtering out more and more Zealots. Queen putting on some pressure, has made an extra pair of lings to try and capitalize on this moment. Almost catches one of the Zealots, and we'll be able to maybe hunt that down. This is a bit of a precarious situation for Bisu because now Queen can run by into the main. This is looking problematic.
This was a 9 pull from Queen, so it's always a bit of a sticky situation for the Protoss player hanging on with the gateway first. And Queen, I mean, he's putting a lot of commitment here to deal this damage. He actually needs to get probes in the main as well. He can't just run by, can't just kill Zealots. Actually, he's going to go after the Zealots that are out on the map right now. I don't know if I like this from Queen. He might give Bisu the opportunity to block out the follow-on lings that are going to be trying to run by. Probes have been pulled en masse. Now 3 Zealots are out and a 4th is about to pop. Dude, is Bisu just going to hold here?
I think so. He's going to hold. The one thing that Queen has going for him is that he did force quite a few probes off the line, so it hiccups the economy a little bit for Bisu, but considering the 9 pull, you don't really mind doing that too much as Protoss. So yeah, I think all things considered, this is definitely a small victory for Bisu. He kind of avoids disaster, doesn't lose probes in the main, stabilizes despite getting the early surrounded Zealot. This is about as good as it gets considering how precarious that situation was a few moments ago.
It could be really scary for Queen. He needs to drone right now, and we might be seeing Bisu move out in a second. Like, he could come forward and start to put on a lot of pressure. And Queen, he's not really going to be set up for that. And the 3rd base is very close as well. This is not a long rush distance for Bisu to get down to bottom left. So even if he makes lings the moment that the Zealots move out, he might get blocked at the ramp for any reinforcements trying to save that base down there.
Yeah, he had to probe scout to see exactly what the follow-up is from Queen to know, hang on a minute, like, it's a possibility that he could try and link flood me here still. I need to see if he's playing honest and pumping drones, squeezing out the tech that he needs, and he really wants to see the 3rd base before he makes a move out, and Queen doesn't allow it. Bisu would be basically rolling the dice if he were to try and move out without getting confirmation on the third base being up and pumping drones at that location. So he won't move out due to the lack of confirmation. So that buys a bit of time here for Queen to try and optimize with the squeezing out of the drones, throwing down macro hatcheries, getting his tech online. So not a bad case scenario here from Queen, considering that Bisu doesn't want to just gamble his life away by just moving out without too much information to work with.
We got the Spire and the Hydralisk Den on the way now from Queen. It's become just such a staple in the matchup ever since that last season where Soma made it look so incredibly powerful. So many other players have started to pick up on it. Queen, no different. He may be looking to just keep denying this information and finally sees the base down here at the bottom left. He sees the extra hatchery going up to 5 hatchery. Will Queen continue to make drones though? Or is he going to pop a pair of Scourge and then start the Mutalisk attack, or the Hydralisk attack, try to break through on Bisu, who is now heading out with some Zealots? Is going to start to put on this pressure. Does Queen have enough to stop that? And will he try to follow up with a Hydralisk push?
I think it's going to be Mutalisks, but there's a massive window for Bisu to pressure. Like, this third base is super exposed. The Sunken just now finished up, but good job from Bisu. He's blocking the ramp with 2 Zealots, not letting the other Lings come in to help too much. Good drone drill, though. Stops the purchase on that Sunken colony. Has to pull back and trade away from its damage range. Tentacles, though, still going to work and helping kill off a few of those. Now losing a little bit of his overlords scattered around the map. There are still some to hunt down. I wish Bisu was a little bit more adamant about that, but he can't be, really. He needs to be concerned about the Scourge. He has to fly back home, at least for the time being, and maybe go and look for those overlords later on. Good surround from the Lings, helping the Mutalisks clean up pretty much all of these Zealots now outside the third base of Queen. But like I said, there's quite a lot of overlords out on the map, so if only Bisu can stabilize a bit more, get some high counts of Corsair, seize air superiority, force Queen back, and then go hunting for those overlords, there's a pretty easy win condition for Bisu if he can manage those things. Let's see what transpires, because it will be a Mutalisk switch from Queen. I imagine he'll make a decent amount of them, but the real fight is trying to find Scourge connections against these Corsairs.
Yeah, he's not finding any right now, and this is a double Stargate relation.
Oh,
double Stargate from Bisu. Like, if he was doing a Hydralisk bust right now, I think this would be really difficult for Bisu to try and hold on to, but he just chose the wrong strat. I don't think he saw the second Stargate inside the main base. I think he just saw this one at the natural, so Queen just completely caught unawares. He's going to lose so many overlords, and he's trying to draw these Corsairs back. He wants him to come over here with the Corsairs and fight the Mutalisk, but Bisu is just rallying out Corsairs to fight this, and he is going to work on that third base with a bunch of Zealots. He gets a couple more Corsairs. Okay, he does manage to get some nice Scourge connection, killing 2 of those Corsairs, but these Zealots are going to get rid of the Sunken Colony. They can also jump on top of the Spore as well and really cause a problem here. As more overloads pop out, they're going to die, and DTs should be popping out here soon too to kind of capitalize on this situation Bisu has started to put together.
Yeah, these Zealots just adding insult to injury. The main X factor for Bisu is just the air superiority with the Corsairs, forcing out the Spores as well as able to hunt down some overlords, and he did supply block Queen for a while there. Finally, Queen starting to recover from that. There is now a DT out as well. That's going to be a little bit annoying if he can avoid the detection of Queen. Maybe kill a few of those drones on the periphery just outside of the detection range of that Spore. Oh gosh.
I mean, there's a Spore here, so he should be able to deal with this, but okay, he caught it. Went a little bit too close there. And Bisu loses
Flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, that was definitely an expected follow-up. Like, when you see this many Corsairs and all the Overlords are dying, you just know that the Protoss is going to be sending in a DT at any moment to try and capitalize on that. Queen handles everything pretty reasonably. I mean, for the situation, when you end up building Mutalisk and losing all your Scourge, getting no connection, there we go, gets a little bit of damage on some of these Corsairs, but not getting any kills. It's just so hard to manage a bad situation like that, but I gotta hand it to Queen. The counterattack at the natural, just killing off probes and forcing Bisu to multitask while getting these spores up, this was handled pretty darn well by him, considering.
Yeah, it's not terrible, and he just got a Ling scout at the third base to identify that Bisu's looking to take that now as well. He's got a double spore set up in his natural as well as Hydras that will stop him from getting supply blocked so easy. He's still being annoying with these Mutalisks, kind of trying to avoid direct engagements with the Corsair fleet. Does catch a few of those Mutalisks with a pair of Corsairs, but now they get baited into a bit of a Scourge trade as well. Needs to try and stay away from the main threat of these Corsairs. Bisu has had a hard job at hunting down Mutalisks recently, like in that game against Soma. And seems like we're seeing a little bit of a repeat of this now, where he's not really on top of the trajectory of where those Mutalisks could be. So they're still existing at the 12 o'clock right now. Comes in again to the third with a Ling to scout exactly the progression on that third base from Bisu. And yeah, not a bad state of affairs for Queen. That he could, a lot of Zergs would be dead in this situation, but he's made the game somewhat playable for himself.
He's still flying around with these mutas. These mutas have actually saved him in this game. It seemed like it would have been a bad situation building mutas into a double Stargate, but he made the most out of it. Made lemonade here. And now has quite a few Hydras. He's got a decent drone saturation. He doesn't have a fourth base just yet, but should be able to secure that relatively soon there. The mineral only is open. Can he actually present the issue here versus Bisu? Wide army coming in for a bit of a surround there, but Bisu has plenty of storms ready for that. Pure Hydra probably not going to be the ticket here unless you can get some snipes on a few of these High Templar first.
Yeah, I mean, you can technically fight that army with a full surround where you're able to mitigate most of the storm potential, but in a direct head-on fight, probably not the best idea without a pincer maneuver or something, or some kind of flank going. He is splitting off some of his Hydra force to hunt down a possible fourth, as well as maybe put pressure onto this third, maybe force a retreat out of Bisu temporarily, and he's gonna try and get away at the false high ground. Doesn't get all of his Hydras caught, so it's not too terrible there. He is slowing down Bisu with these maneuvers, setting up for his own fourth base now, popping out some lurkers as well. Definitely needs to mix up his unit composition. Pure Hydra will not win this game. So Queen starting to get the tools and the assets required to translate this into a more favorable mid to late game transition, but the fourth base is not going to be easily saved at all. Bisu should be able to lay assault to the natural, and if he's not able to break there, he could just rotate and kill this fourth on the exit, but looks like there's not much here in the natural in the way of lurkers to help slow this down, and Queen's in so much trouble. He's going for a counterattack, but how is he going to defend?
Oh my god, this drop into the main is crazy from Queen. He's actually going to counterattack over here in the top left as well. Oh my god, this is going to be so wild. There are a bunch of lurkers here. Wow. He's just gearing up on the high ground. He's going to go to one base. He's just going to sit here on the island.
He's taking a page out of Soma's book.
Yeah, and I mean, he's definitely going to kill the third. He's kind of dismantling the main here. Some units do end up coming back enough to break this. I guess Bisu will just stabilize while Queen loses his entire main. Was this the right call? I mean, surrounding the army would have been really hard, but
yeah,
I mean, this is almost a surefire loss, is it not, Jun?
I think so. I don't like the play personally. I feel like it's suboptimal. I feel like while it might have potential to pull the attention of some Protoss players to retreating to come and defend, most situations not. It's just not going to do enough heavy lifting. I can see why he did it, but I don't think it's ideal. I think it would have been better to try and set up a surround on the army instead. As it stands, though, he's trying to collapse onto this army that's just cleared his main and natural. This is kind of like the last hoorah of Queen. He's going to GG out after this fight concludes. He hasn't really got any legs to stand on anymore. Bisu has definitely won this game and played super amazing. Has Bisu for the entirety of this KCM. He's going to have just one more player to destroy in Rush, and I'm honestly super impressed with Bisu. Like, we've had him be a little bit flimsy a couple of ASL seasons ago, like forgetting Storm and all these kind of craziness, but this season of ASL, who knows, man, he's looking like a real contender. GG finally called. Last game on the plate. Going to be Bisu versus Rush coming up next.
All right, guys, final game of the night. Rush spawning here in the bottom left versus Bisu top right. It's been a banger of a KCM week. A lot of great games here. I expect this one will be no less. But before we get started here, guys, just want to mention that we have a Patreon page, and you can find the links down in the description. If you want to support our duo, the ASL is coming up here soon. We're going to be casting that live for you guys once again over on Starcast TV channel, SCTV-EN, of course, this season again. We've also been doing, 2v2 tournaments and stuff like that, but if you guys want to support us and what we do, you guys have been enjoying these casts, definitely consider giving us some of your support there on Patreon.
Yeah, we really do appreciate all of your guys' love and support. Means the world to us, helps us pay the bills and allocate very much of our time to staying ahead of the StarCraft scene and bringing you guys the best of our casting ability. Let's see what Rush can do against Bisu. It's going to be cross-map with no Nexus first, so he's already kind of out of the woods with some potential shenanigans that would be hard to punish. Rush has been playing pretty spectacularly in recent times. I am kind of eyeballing him as one of the Terran hopes this season of ASL. Looks like it's going to be a bunker expand from him this time around, kind of hedging his bets against something like a 12 Nexus, and also just going to put him into a pretty good economic position either way.
Yeah, Rush, one of those guys who you would imagine should have an ASL title, but just hasn't managed to get one yet. I don't know if he stands much of a chance. There's just so much talent this year. It's kind of crazy, but he's definitely on that short list of players that could potentially take the ASL. It's just it's gonna be so hard to make a tier list this season. It really is. I made a tier list last season. It was tough, but this season
I can help you if you want. It is tricky, I'm not gonna lie to you. Some players will probably not agree with my speculations. Like, as good as Queen has been playing, he's actually like an A-tier player for me right now, a lot of players might not like some of my speculation. Some people think that Rush is not that good as well. I think he's the most underrated Terran considering his ability, though. So I'd be putting Rush as like maybe one of the lower S players, for example. But yeah, if you want to, we could do a tier list together.
I'm trying to think of where I put Rush. I feel like he's got to be in S as well. But,
yeah, low to mid S, I would say.
Yeah, I have to think about it more, of course, before making those predictions. ASL qualifiers is coming up here right away. and the regular season is going to be starting nearer to the end of the month, beginning of April. Just going to throw that out there because I get so many questions, so many people in the comments asking, and in the stream asking as well, so might as well just let you guys know. It's not set for sure yet, but it's right around that time when it should be starting.
I'm just still blown away that we've already had some drama with effort forgetting to sign up for the qualifiers, man. That's so crazy to me. Like, considering he is unironically one of the greatest Zergs of all time. Like, I know you guys might not be as familiar with him as some other people are, but yeah, super consistent Zerg across all three matchups, and has had a lot of potential to play amazing in recent years as well, since he came back in the last year. I mean, almost caught this SCV with a probe scout, does finally clear that out with a Dragoon. Does Bisu, but it's nice that Rush got a lot of confirmation scout with that SCV for the time being. He won't be able to do much this game though, obviously. With the bunker expand, he's kind of playing a much more reserved style of Terran, and that might open up Bisu to get a bit greedy and take a very fast third.
Well, he knows that he's not going to take like a super greedy third here, right? With the Robo. Okay, 5 minutes 15, 1 gateway and a Robo. You're not really making a lot of units to actually deal with anything that Rush is doing. So if Rush gets over here and sees this Nexus already on the way, he might do something like a 4-factory push. It can't be hard cross map, but Bisu is going to be very light on units here, man.
Yeah. I mean, two gate observer is like the standard. So going 1 gate observer is super flimsy. It is bunker expand, but you still have to respect the possibility of a Terran timing coming out in the next minute or two. He's gonna have some vultures to put on some pressure, and if they identify the fast third, that's definitely gonna maybe trigger Rush to be a little bit more aggressive. But he's not checking that spot right now. He doesn't know about this. Bisu also stopping the progress of killing that egg for the time being as soon as he saw that the speed vultures were out. Just wants to make sure he's super tight for the time being, especially until those extra gateways finally come online.
Okay, can he actually see this? It looks like he might scout it, setting up some mines. Yeah, he is going to see that, finishing up 6 minute 30 mark. That's usually when you'll see the Nexus starting, so he knows that there's been quite a fair amount of greed here from Bisu. Doesn't really have a good position to punish that, though. I think he might be building a starport in the main base, though. No, that's an eBay, excuse me. eBay is done. He's gone for Armory eBay, and so he might not be able to punish too much, except for run-bys with the Vultures. Hey, there we go. It's about 4 probe kills, at least slowing down Bisu's progress a tiny bit, though. He still has gotten away with a lot.
Yeah, I think Bisu's kind of getting away with it. I mean, yes, he lost a few probes, but it's not that big of a deal. And that's the nice catch, though, getting a mine hit on that Dragoon, softening it out for later. Looks like he will be gearing up to do a tank push in a few moments, maybe. Taking a 3rd base ahead of schedule is Rush, so rather than throwing down additional factories, he's going to be a little bit greedy himself. This is a crazy fast CC. You'll usually see Terrans take it at about 9 minutes at the earliest CC at the 3rd, so the fact that he took that at like 7 minutes 30, he's eyeing up to be greedy himself rather than go for a more risky timing attack orientated style of play. He will throw down those additional factories now, but he won't have much opportunity to punish Bisu. But ooh, Bisu is going to be doing a transition into Carrier Sand.
I was wondering for a second there, did he skip range because he was spitting the cybernetics core in the main? But yeah, Carrier's on the way. That must be +1. Bisu just going straight up into a 4th base with Carrier. Rush is going to have a pretty decent timing against this, I feel. He's got this 3rd base up so quickly
Yeah.
that he's going to be able to have a very early factory explosion to line up with the timing on these carriers. So I'm a bit worried for Bisu. We'll see what he can do with this bit of harassment with the Reaver that's going to be coming in here soon. Seems like Rush will just barely have his turrets in time, though.
Yeah, he'll go up to 7 factories anyway on 3 bases, but if he knows about this, he could go all the way up to 8 or 9 and try and run it down. Depends on the style that he wants to use. You can try and go for a really aggressive timing with like 8 or 9 factories and be a bit more semi all-in because you don't have the upgrades to fall back on if you're not successful with your assault. Or you can go a bit more upgrade heavy with less factory. He scans it at a perfect timing though. He has about 2 minutes 30 of a window to get set up and get over and start knocking on Bisu's door. And as you can see, it is going to be that explosion in gateways all the way up to 8. So a little bit of the middle of the road. It's not going to be super all in from Rush, but he is going to be setting up for as strong of timing as possible.
Yeah, the 8 factory play is going to be hitting very hard here, right as Bisu is getting out his first couple of carriers and his gateways finally come online. Will he be able to withstand the pressure from Rush as he comes across the map here with the +1, ready to fight? Immediately, he's got quite a bit of Goliaths in this army. Actually, I wasn't expecting quite this many Goliaths already. Usually you have a heavier mix of vultures in here with the initial plus, and then you add the Goliaths on later as the carriers start to come out. But he's only got a few vultures. He's actually rallying vultures across the map to join with this army, and he's pushed the Protoss force over to the right-hand side and making a lot of progress towards the natural. He's going to get set up here real quick, but Bisu will rotate around behind this army, start to catch a few reinforcements as they try to come across the map.
Yeah, the thought process here is you need to have enough Goliaths that even if one dies, you can, 1 or 2 die, you can still, you know, 2-shot a shuttle and 1-shot an observer. Does kill that shuttle really quickly. Oh, jeez. This is problematic. If he starts setting up turrets, this might be a checkmate move from Rush right off the bat. The Bisu cannot allow the turrets to actually be set up here. Turrets are so good at shutting down carriers when they haven't got a high count of interceptors like this. It's actually pretty much game winning if you do get these turrets online here. You don't even need that many Goliaths. Like, as long as you've got some turrets to sandbag the carriers clearing out the tanks, you're pretty much golden. He's dealing with a bit of a counterattack though at his 3rd base Dragoons, trying to lay a little bit of a siege to that base and force the rallied units of Rush to not come straight across the map to put on the pressure himself. Tanks rotating to the middle, the natural 3rd of Bisu to try and put a bit of a clock on Bisu and force him to respond immediately. Doesn't seem like these Dragoons are being super optimal, but they are buying time. They are stopping additional Goliaths from getting over here, and Bisu's found an angle where there's not that much turret coverage against the few Goliaths that were fielded by Rush, and delaying that rally a little bit is buying Bisu just enough time to have a tiny bit of a hope here, but it doesn't look good. It does look like Rush is making significant progress already.
It's a real shame that he lost that Reaver and Shuttle. I could have definitely used that with the Dragoons at the natural to try and slow things down as it stands. The armies have combined, and this base at 12 o'clock is actually going to go down as Bisu's kind of breaking out here. He may indeed break out, but he's lost all of his Nexi. The Nexus in the main is all that remains, and so even as he starts to break this, he has to tap out. Bisu gets broken by a timing attack from Rush. A lot of greed shown in that game. Very, very fast 3rd Nexus, very fast 3rd CC, but trying to dive into carriers that quickly was a step too far in Rush punishes. And there you have it, Terran making it the final week of KCM. Week number 8 has concluded, guys, and as you can see, Protoss will be advancing to the finals. We're going to be having Zerg versus Terran in that semifinal match.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that. It was was guaranteed, guys, just so you know. Like, this week didn't really matter too much in terms of the point scoring. Although, despite that, we got to see some of the best possible squads from all three respective races and some absolute bangers of games. I'm kind of surprised. I thought that, you know, week 8, they'd be throwing out some B-teamers and not really caring too much about putting on a show. But like we anticipated, enough of a prize pool available, and with ASL around the corner, these guys don't care about points too much. They just want to come and play some good StarCraft, and I'm all about it.
As I alluded to earlier, I think that these players maybe throwing together the good teams because of the all-kill prize, right? Like, maybe if you put in B-teamers, somebody like Best or Snow or, you know, Bisu can just sweep the entire squad, and
true.
Suddenly that prize is off the table. If you want to keep that alive and maybe take it for yourself, you got to keep sending out your best. And lucky for us, we got to see a great Terran lineup. Rush ultimately taking that one home for his squad, giving them a small prize there, but not the big prize that's still going to be growing in the background.
Yeah, man, this has been a fantastic season of KCM, and I'm looking forward to the semis and finals. And what a great segue into the ASL, saying very perfectly timed. I'm sure KCM had that in mind with the scheduling. I'm looking forward to just the future of StarCraft in general. There's a lot of people many years ago that speculated that the game was dead, StarCraft 2's coming out, and Broodwar's just going to fizzle into nothingness and irrelevance. That couldn't be further from the truth, saying it almost seems like the scene is almost growing with how all these old players are coming back and performing super good. Like you were saying earlier, like players like Bisu, Flash, Jadong, performing at quite a high level despite being some of the oldest players in the scene. I don't think that could possibly happen in any other sport or game. StarCraft seems to kind of stand alone with its precedent.
And if you guys have any doubts about that, like, the best evidence I can give for what Shun is saying is just go and watch some Pro League. Come to my stream, watch some Pro League. The prize pools are ridiculous. Like, these guys are making, you know, $1,500 per player for a day of Pro League, and that's like an average
Sometimes
day.
a lot more.
Sometimes, you know, as much as $3,000 US dollars per person per player on the winning squad. So there is just a huge amount of hype for these guys. There's an immense amount of support, and as long as the dollars are there, as long as people are putting in the money, and you know, the eyeballs are there, these guys are going to be showing up to play. There's going to be tons of competition for those top spots. Everybody's going to be, you know, gunning for those Pro League spots, and one of the best ways to do that is show up really big in ASL. Then you put your name on the board, and you can get yourself a seat at the table when it comes to those super lucrative Pro League games.
Absolutely, Sam couldn't said it better myself. I think what really is special to me in particular is the fact that that Pro League, you know, it's all crowdfunded. It's literally just the fans donating money to the streamers, and the streamers put all that money into a pool and put that into a prize pot for the whole event of Pro League. And that gives me hope for the longevity of StarCraft, because even hypothetically, all of these tournaments stop. Like, you know, let's say there was no ASL, no KCM, no nothing, right? Well, you're still going to have Pro League, because you don't need any tournament organizers. You're still going to have the fans, the players propping it up and keeping things going, keeping the lights on, which makes me think that this is going to be in for the long haul. We could be sitting here casting StarCraft games for many years to come, Sam, and I'm all about it.
Yeah, we're certainly here for the long haul, guys. So if you are interested in supporting us and what we do, again, take a look at that link, the Patreon link in the description. Help us to keep covering the KCM, the ASL, and other tournaments out there. That's it for this week, guys. Semifinals is starting next week, and we're going to see you guys there. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.
Thanks, guys.